Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this much-awaited and anticipated Advice Cube Grand Prix. We have had such a lovely weekend, and I'm sure you'll all agree with me that we've been treated to some wonderful snooker of high quality. It's been so good. We just want to thank all the players that have participated in the mini and main qualifiers around the country, and a big congratulations to all the players as well who made it to this last 16 right here in the Q Master Snooker Center. So it is boiled down to two men at the end of the day. Well, Verna, before I hand over to you, we haven't been very fortunate to have witnessed the most elusive 147, but we're fortunate at least. I think we're getting there. Sadly, we're still waiting for the 147, but we're getting there because we got a 116. So we just want to put our hands together for that 116. We're not going to say who made it for now, but you're just going to keep it there. Can we put our hands together for that 116? Yeah! So at the end of the day, not everyone can win. We're just going to have one winner. So we're down to the two men. And
yeah, absolutely, Alison. And unfortunately, that 116 was on my table, but it's a little bit more special than just the 116. But we'll get into that a little bit later as to exactly how that happened. But it was really good to see, and it's great for snooker to show that we've actually got the talent to manifest something like an incredible 116 like we saw that happen there. Alice, as you said, absolutely incredible event that we've had thus far. We saw just an incredible semi-final now with an under the one seed against Jaden Nolan, young up-and-coming player putting up a big fight, unexpected almost. Most people almost thought that Shaw would just walk his way into the final, but made Mr. Young, the number one seed, sweat quite a bit as well. And all of these incredible events would have never been possible without our sponsors. And on that note, I specifically, as Alison said, this is the Advice Cube Grand Prix. So without any further ado, I'd like to give a special thanks to Advice Cube. They are the main sponsors for this event. They have done an incredible job. They've put together 75,000 Rand that these players are paying for. That is incredible in Q Sport, and it will just assist us in growing the sport. So a big thank you to them, and absolutely a round of applause for them. And on that note, Alison, for me it was an absolute privilege. I did the promo video for them leading up to the event, and I had a chance to speak to Mr. Vimal Singh. He's the MD of Advice Cube. And basically the package that they're putting together is irrespective if you are a family or a business, or you have a business and you have your family, that's the one-stop shop for anything if you care for tomorrow. And that's something that hit me. If you care about tomorrow, contact Advice Cube today, because absolutely they are experts in their field. They specialize in short-term and long-term insurance. So if you have any of those requirements, please get in touch with Advice Cube. It is advicecube.co.za, or you can give them a call on 086 173 2688, and they promise you they'll be able to assist you. That is the professionals over at Advice Cube. So a big thank you and another round of applause for them. And then last but definitely not least, we do have our refreshment sponsor, My Day Brands, and quite regularly said in commentary and discussing the matches how much we enjoy the refreshments from My Day Brands, but I have to take it one step further in saying that it's not just about the refreshments. Yes, it's nice to have a juice that we can drink, but it's not just about that refreshment. It is actually what the company itself is doing for the sport that we all enjoy. The group at My Day Brands, Mr. Moody and team, you guys are incredibly special to all of our Q Sport followers and enthusiasts. You guys do incredible work, not just in snooker, but Q Sport as a whole. A big thank you to what you guys are doing, and a big round of applause for them as well.
Werner, I'm told that today is Mr. Moodley's birthday.
On that note, another round of applause for Mr. Moodley himself. Alright, so we'll move on into the next thing. Over to you, Elton.
Yeah, of course. It's such a lovely day that we're having, and in our midst, we are blessed to have the CEO of Pro Snooker, Mr. Cuban Moodley. Can we please put our hands together for Mr. Moodley, wherever you are? We also have the development officer. We also have the development officer for SABSA, South Africa Snooker Association, Mr. Munir Kasim in our midst as well. If we can just put our hands together for him. All right, so over to you, Bernard, just to get the referees in.
All right, if I can please ask the guys that have put in probably the most work throughout this weekend. We have our head referee, Mr. Andre de Toy, as well as the match official for this final, Mr. Stefan Stiedekamp.
Okay, every successful sport has that one unsung hero who gets things going without them being noticed by everyone. This man that I'm going to talk about is a man. It's a very special moment. Let me just take it from the start again. Every sport has that unsung hero who gets things going without them being noticed by anyone. This man that I'm going to talk about right now is a man who dedicated all his life to the Q Sport world. And no, he wasn't a champion playing on the table. He didn't hold multiple championships like some of you guys. But he gave his life to installing pool tables and snooker tables all around the country. And in some African countries as well, such as Mozambique, Zambia, Lesotho, Swaziland. I know that he was in those countries installing pool tables, installing snooker tables. The very snooker table that we're standing in front of was installed by him as well. And so were all the other tables that are in the Q Master Snooker Center installed by him. There is so many tables across the country that he was a part of. I know of very few installers like him. And yeah, I feel goosebumps when I talk about him. A very selfless and hard worker who left many smiling and happy with his work. Certainly, even if he wasn't champion on the table, he created champions on the table by the amount of work that he did, by the flawless work that he did. So, the last job that he did was done at the Wanderers Club, where he made sure that he was critically ill by the time that he was called to go and do that job. Unfortunately, the people that called him at that time didn't know that he was that ill. But he just said I was speaking to him, he said, I need to go and do a job in Johannesburg. I said, you're not well. And then he said, I still have the energy to do it. If it's the last thing that I'm going to do before I die, I am going to do it. And I said, do not go. He said, I can do it, and I will do it, and I'm going to go do it. So he went on to Johannesburg and did that job at the Wanderers Snooker Center, and he ensured that the standards were kept high, and there could be a SA Snooker Championship. And ladies and gentlemen, that just shows you how much of dedication this man had. And sadly, he passed away from kidney failure 2 weeks ago in Johannesburg and was buried in his hometown in the Eastern Cape. The man in question is Elton Sujato is the man that I'm talking about. He left a very special legacy and will always be sorely missed in this industry. May we all observe a moment of silence and clap our hands for him thereafter. Thank you.
Yes, Alison, absolutely. It's, as I said, when I call the match officials over, it's a lot of the time it's the people in the background that make events such as these so special. And absolutely special person. More often than not, it goes unnoticed by spectators, the hard work that goes into these events. So, absolutely incredible person. It's a sorry sight to see him go. But on that note, we are here for one reason and one reason alone, and this is for the final of the Advice Cube Grand Prix. And it was an absolute pleasure to watch these guys play and fight their way through to this final. And I'd like to call up, first of all, the number 2 seed, Fakhri Fireball Girdin. Fakhri.
Yes, sir.
You had a tough quarterfinal yesterday. You were up against your coach, Mr. Rafik Lambada.
Yeah, and my sparring partner.
Absolutely, and sorry. So your sparring partner and your coach, you faced him yesterday. It was a tough encounter, but this morning you came in. You were playing like a completely different person. How are you feeling for this final?
Yeah, I think last night he was playing well. I wasn't feeling it last night. This morning I feel a bit better. And yeah, the final, I think myself and Charles have been a few times before, so it's not like this is unfamiliar territory. You know what, snooker, as I said yesterday, snooker is a strange game. It can just go anyway. So yeah, I'll be there to have fun and enjoy, and let's see how it goes.
Absolutely, and just one quick other thing. You had a bit of a break night between sessions. Your opponent didn't. You finished last minute, full 3.5 hours. Are you feeling nice and fresh and ready to take on this one?
Actually, to be honest with you, I had to drive to Toti with my family, come back, so I'm probably just as rushed as he is. So yeah, let's see. We'll still obviously try and produce the best game possible and just give a high quality final. That's what we aim to do.
So fair final nonetheless. Over to you, Alison.
Yeah. It gives me such pleasure to be the one that calls the number 1 seed up front. The other finalist who is going to battle it out with Fakhri Fireball. His name is Charles, the Assassin Young. Please come up, Charles. Charles, this is familiar territory, but I'm just going to ask you a genuine question. How does it feel to be in this final, especially after such a gruesome semi-final that you had?
Hello, Elton. Yeah, being in a final, it's fantastic. You never take any wins for granted, so it was a tough battle against Jaden. I'm just happy to be in the final and hopefully an improved performance.
All right, Charles, just a quick one as well. You are facing Fakhri. This is the 4th time consecutively, if I'm not mistaken. Does that mean anything? Does that change anything to your strategy?
It doesn't make it any easier. I know what Fakhri is capable of, so I'm not going to take anything for granted. Great to have won the previous 3 encounters, but on the day, as he said, it counts for nothing. So we start from 0-0, anything can happen.
Thank you. All the best.
So that's it, ladies and gents. All the formalities are done and dusted. So without any further ado, I'd like to pass the match over to our match officials. Mr. Stefan Steenkamp, he's standing right here behind me. We'll get the match underway. I'm going to ask you guys to please sit back, relax, and enjoy. It is the final of the Advice Cube Grand Prix 2022. Enjoy. Thanks, Stefan.
And there we have it, ladies and gents. So what a quick start here by Fakhri, on display with a break of 9 already. As I said when I welcomed him, he looks like a completely different player compared to yesterday. He had his quarterfinal match against his sparring partner and coach, Mr. Rafik Lambada. Rafik is also the South African national head coach. And that was a very tough encounter for both the players. Fakhri seeing it through in the end. Looked like it was going to go 4-4 at one stage, and Fakhri just saw it through, making it 5-3 in the last couple of minutes in that final frame. Showed a little bit of brilliance there, as he's doing now. He's playing really, really well. Just unfortunate there with the position on the cue ball. But when he came in this morning, he faced a multiple title winning Mutlip Ali with 27 years experience and 19 titles behind his name, and he made quick work of that, winning 5-2. So he did incredibly well. And Scholl, on the other hand, had a blistering day yesterday. And in the semi-final today, he battled quite a bit against Jaden. Jaden was able to frustrate him, and it actually shot the tip of his cue. And had to ask Mr. Lambada just to get that fixed out, almost scratching the cue ball. He had to ask Mr. Rafik Lambada just to iron out that issue for him by just replacing his tip, and just wasn't feeling like himself. So hopefully Charles is able to now just restore his level of play to what we are used to. It is seeded number 1 and 2, rightfully so, that we are seeing in action here today. Some beautiful angles and scenes we're getting from our cameraman. Charles with a nice opportunity for the red to the middle. He'll want to make this. This is quite important just for him to settle down. It is only the start of, almost left it on for Fakhri. It's only the start of the final. It is again still a best out of 9, a race to 5, 3.5 hour session. But Fakhri played some beautiful shots thus far in the start of this frame. And again, just showing the maturity. I actually had a chance to speak to Jaden, who faced off against Scholl, and complimented him again on him showing the maturity, because it's all about taking those calculated risks, knowing that if I do attempt to take on this ball, what am I leaving my opponent with, and what is the chances of landing on another color so I can continue on that break. Those unnecessary risks tend to leave you in trouble, and this might be, I think that's quite a tough cut. I wouldn't say that's an easy leave by Scholl. But there is a red that looks like it can go to the middle, one that Fakhri is looking at the moment. So I'm also welcoming back my partner in crime here in the commentary booth. We don't often get to commentate together, even though we commentate simultaneously. Mr. Ellison Sebanda, thank you for joining us here in the commentary, and it is the final. We see a black drop. Fakhri was off to a quick fire start in this frame, and he'll want to continue the pressure and the form that he showed this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much, Verna. Indeed, it is a pleasure doing this with you. Like you said, we're always sitting side by side, but we get to do commentary on different matches. This is quite good. You know, it makes it so much easier. And yeah, I see Fakhri is on fire. Started, he's the fireball in any case, so his fireball has been unleashed.
Absolutely. I said now at the start of the stream, when he came in this morning, he had a tough match against Rafik yesterday. But this morning he faced Mutalibu, who's a multiple title winning holder. He's won multiple titles And with 27 years experience, 19 national titles, not even provincial titles, national titles, amongst the SA National Snooker Champion, the Classic title, the Doubles title, the Six Red title, all of those titles. And Fakhri went and he made quite quick work. That was on your table. 5-2, I believe, was the final score in that match.
Yeah, it was 5-2. Yeah, the first, in that match, the first frame seemed like Mutalib was going to be all over Fakhri. But after that first frame, Fakhri just went all over him. So, like you're saying, with all those tons of titles and experience, Fakhri kept his cool. And another thing about Mutalib is he actually spent a couple of years in the 90s playing snooker in the UK as a career. So he defeated a man who's really, really immensely talented.
Absolutely, and apart from the fact that he is talented, he's an entertaining player to watch as well. Yes, Charles is undefeated. Charles has won every single pro snooker event, but Fakhri is entertaining to watch. A lot of the time when you see on the professional circuit, they would get to a point where they've now got the frame secured and they would start playing exhibition snooker. I've seen Charles do that in the start of the frame, and he showed a little bit of a resemblance of that, and he played a couple of flashy shots and is just flowing, and as soon as he feels good, he plays good for me. Charles, however, now has almost a bit of mental recovery that he needs to do. You can see Charles sitting in the background there. He had a tough semi-final against Jaden. Yes, in the end, with about an hour to go, one would almost feel like, with an unfortunate miss there by Fakhri, one would almost say that Charles, with about an hour to go in that match, one would almost feel that he was going to win it. But Jaden wasn't relenting at all. He's a youngster. He doesn't have all the experience that Charles has or Fakhri has, yet he was able to put that pressure onto Charles, and he turned out 3 frames against Charles 4.
Yeah, Jaden was relentless, and we like to see that. We like to see the competition. These two are in their 4th consecutive final, but one would think that, okay, it's been so easy for them to get to where they are now, but every time they still get a good run for their money, because Charles was really, really pushed to the edge by Jaden at the end of it all. And like you're saying, Rafiq last night pushed Fakhri as well. So had things gone any other way, these guys would have missed out on this final here.
Charles just drawing back that cue ball slightly back into the rail just to get position onto his next red. Score is currently 24 points to Fakhri and 7 to Charles. This is, however, Charles' break of 7, so he does not want to mess up the break. He wants to continue adding the pressure and hopefully take the lead and extend it past the point where the frame then becomes his.
Yeah, now either of them will definitely want to be on top of the situation from the beginning and not allow the other one to run away with this. So you saw how Fakhri started, and Charles got an opportunity now, so he realizes that he has to make his opportunity count. So in other words, he is definitely going to try and make hay whilst the sun is shining on his side. Lovely.
Confident shot there, but I think he almost played that with safety in mind, just get the cue ball back into bulk. As you said, it's now the 4th consecutive final. I've watched all 3 of them, the 3 preceding finals, and that was the match. The first one was at Gold Reef City, where they played in the final at the Gold Reef City venue, and Charles pulled off a win out of nowhere. He was trailing, then started to make a comeback, and ended up winning the Gold Reef City Championship title by potting an incredible black at distance, full length of the table, absolutely smashed it in the very last seconds of that match, and he won it. So that wasn't even the time that decided that. He just banged it in, and it was incredible to watch. Then thereafter we had the UGB Masters, and again they faced each other in the final, and that was enthralling to watch as well, because it was basically exactly the same. Charles was trailing, Fakhri had the momentum on his side. Charles started to hold things back, managed his time, and just in time was able to pull it all the way through. However, the last encounter at the Town Classic was a completely different story. We saw Charles dominate there. Now, is it maybe now the other side of the page that we're going to see maybe Fakhri dominate?
Yeah, no, the last encounter, Charles definitely dominated from start to finish, unlike the other two incidents that you just mentioned. So I'm thinking Fakhri will definitely take his chances. He will not want to be dominated. He will take his chances and he'll fancy himself and say, is it going to be fourth time lucky? Because, I mean, 3 times going with the same one, with the same person and losing to them, the fourth time should be lucky. So he's like, fourth time I should get this. But what I like about Fakhri is he says he's out here to enjoy it. Everything else that will happen will happen. So it's a good way to look at it as a player. A good sportsman has to enjoy first before anything else.
No, this is almost like a pay-per-view boxing rivalry. We had the 2 close encounters, then the 1 dolloping, and then now if we can have another dolloping, and then we'll have a 5th one lined up where that's then the decider, then hopefully one of them would retire. But yeah, it's absolutely incredible to watch. It's great fun, especially if you're a lover of cue sports. It's incredible what these guys are able to do. These tables are incredible. It's the Waraka that they're playing on now, the steel block. And just to put it into perspective, maybe for some people, it's 4 pool tables.
4, yeah.
That's the size of this table that they're playing on. And what these guys are able to achieve with the break of 24, we see the scores even now. This is now for the lead, important red. Beautifully played there. Charles is looking a lot better than he did in the semi-final. What we saw often was a red and a colour and a red and a miss. A red and a colour, a red and a miss. We saw that often. There was no consistency in terms of building breaks. Now Charles looks very focused. Very, very focused.
Yes, he definitely needs the fluency, the consistency to come in. I think sometimes you know who you're playing and you are aware that if I make silly mistakes, then it's to my detriment. That's how I'm going to lose this. Not taking anything away from the other opponents, but it's knowing that, okay, this man that I'm playing here is ruthless when it comes to potting. Fakhri is one of the best potters of this ball in our country, you know, and he does not take any prisoners. So Charles will have taken a deep breath and said, let me regather and recollect after that gruesome semi-final.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see now Charles break on 31. He's got a total of 6 reds, 1 yellow, 2 blues, 1 pink and 1 black, total of 31. So he's been doing quite well in this break thus far, but you can see the way that he is moving around. He's moving around quite slowly, which is for me, Charles focusing at 159,000%.
Yeah. He also, you know, when you're playing against Fakhri is a fast player, so you have to find a way to slow him down, and this slows him down definitely. You want him to sit for long and end up losing form, because like as of now, he's been sitting for quite a bit now, and sitting there makes you lose form eventually, and it's a good tactic for a player for playing someone against someone like Fakhri.
Absolutely, and actually, if someone were to ask me how do I beat someone in snooker, the key is make sure he doesn't get up off his seat. He gets cold.
Keep them sitting, yeah.
He's looking at the table from one side the whole time. It's demotivating seeing your opponent scoring against you the whole time. So it is definitely a tactic.
Let them watch you.
Yeah, it's.
Let them spectate like everyone else.
Absolutely.
Then you're throwing them out.
Yeah, so now this break becomes a little bit more tricky. He does have the red, and he also has the angle on this black to get position on the red. Again, as we said, he wants to keep Fakhri exactly where he is. His lead is not far enough out of Fakhri's reach for him to make a mistake now. So very important to get position. That is really well played. That is really well played.
Nudge that red and move the pink away. and give himself a good angle of that red to the bottom right there.
Absolutely, and actually one of my favorite shots, and I've mentioned it a couple of times, is when you play the blue to the middle and then use the cue ball to run into the cluster of reds. And it was actually something that I mentioned leading up to the event, not something that I've really seen the guys do. And then in one weekend I saw Shaw do it 3 times. So that makes me happy because that takes a lot of confidence. It is a risky shot, and you also need to look at the cluster itself, how the balls are lining up, because very easily that cue ball can just disappear into that cluster and you don't get a result from there.
Yeah, well, it's something that he's definitely practiced countless times, and he's become confident and he knows he can do it.
Now this outcome isn't too bad. This red is not easy, but the outcome isn't too bad.
Yeah, certainly not an easy red, but the preceding shots to this one means his confidence, shows that he's confident, and wouldn't. Yeah, that's unlucky though.
Yeah, is the pink going to be a saving grace? No, it's
No, it's
not.
not.
It's not. The difference is only 25. 35 on the table.
That can be the lifeline that Fakhri needs here.
Absolutely, he's on the black already. And for those at home that don't understand exactly what needs to happen now that all the reds are gone, obviously need to pot a red that's valued at 1 point, followed by a color other than red. Oh, rattled. This is, oh no.
That's not good enough. That's not acceptable at this point in time.
He also touched the pink. Yeah, he's conceded.
There's no other way.
Yeah, he's absolutely disgusted with himself there because there was enough on the table.
Yeah, but again, it's a matter of Charles making him sit for so long. This was probably his second visit to the table.
So just when I said now enough on the table in terms of there wasn't enough points for him to win without a snooker.
Yes.
But enough on the table for him to snooker shot because you need hiding spots. It was strange for me to see Fakhri concede there, but also maybe he just wants to get past that frame, move on to the next one.
He's that sort of player.
Because we said he is a fast player. He doesn't want to now go get bucked down in a safety exchange.
Let's get this going. That's not his game, yeah. That's not his game. He's a very... He's got an aggressive approach. He just wants to go. And if things are not working, let's move on and see what's in store for us in the next frame. That's him.
So a break off by Charles. You'll see he'll nudge the reds, get that cue ball tucked in behind either the green, brown or yellow. And that then obviously obstructs the angles that you have line of sight on the reds because according to snooker rules you can only now play for reds, otherwise it is a foul. Get another confident stroke by Fakhri, but does not end up getting the cue ball back into bulk, and that red is hanging precariously close to the pocket, but I think it's obstructed by the brown.
From where I was, I didn't think it was being blocked by the brown. I think he just opted for this, as it seems like a more straight option.
Yeah,
ooh.
Definitely didn't have to do much with the cue ball to get position for the black. But now can he see enough of the red just to the right of the black to play that to the corner pocket and then let Fakhri in and allow him to have a look at these reds?
Suppose he's got a good angle.
Yeah, very good angle there. Some great work by the cameraman. Yeah, so red's still quite tied up. Ping to the bottom left, and then you can play for the red that's down at the bottom of the table exactly like that.
Extremely done well there.
He's now pushed that green awkward. And the problem with the low colors being awkward is if you get to a stage in the frame where the lower colors are still required. If they're awkward, then it becomes a tough frame to secure. The players always prefer to have the colors on their spots because they actually practice.
You don't want to move them.
Yeah, practice finishing the table from those colors. Charles knew without a doubt exactly what Fakhri was doing. He was off and on his feet before Fakhri even played the shot. But a very good shot there nonetheless. Big target to aim at is the cluster of reds, but he wants to get nestled right up against that cluster of reds. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that's perfect.
That's enough, yes.
Not difficult to respond from here, does Fakhri. Can just run into one of the reds, just use the angle just to get the cue ball back into safety again. Yeah, and the closer it is to that bottom rail, top rail from your view now, the better. It just makes cueing so much harder at this distance. Did well to avoid the traffic to get the cue ball back up into safety.
Don't know how safe it is because I think the red closest to the rail.
Yeah, bottom right.
Bottom right
Does go. Fakhri was
yeah.
just having a look to see if he can pot the black.
And then you'll have the black to his disposal there. He's
Has
going.
spotted another red. He favors more. Nicely played.
I guess that's why we're sitting here and they are on the table.
Absolutely, and also it's the angles of the camera is a little bit deceiving sometimes. You can't always see what's blocking what. So we kind of have to read the body language of the player and look where they are looking to kind of gauge where they are going. Being in the final, we've got a cameraman as well, so we can sometimes see actually the angles, and that definitely helps. But we need to have a guess sometimes, and sometimes we don't see it as the players do.
Definitely. I think Fakhri will be looking at definitely drawing one back here and leveling terms. He doesn't want to find himself 2-0 down at this point in time. And I mean, the table looks decent enough for him to put a couple of points on the table, on the scoreboard actually, sorry.
Absolutely, and it's also, we'll definitely have a look at freeing up, as I was saying, freeing up the black. Does it in that shot, but unfortunately misses the red. Get a view from the top. Not much left by Fakhri for Charles. Does have a red to the middle, but needs to bridge over the red. That makes it really awkward. Also, you have less of the cue ball that you can play at. But nicely played there.
That's it right.
Followed through for the ping to the middle as well.
Now that spread of reds comes in handy.
Absolutely, as playing for the loose reds, and if they are all out and about, you more often than not find yourself with a couple of options. Obviously, you're not going to play a shot hoping that you might get onto an option at some point. You play for a specific ball, but if it goes wrong, at least there are other options.
Indeed, and Charles will definitely look at taking a commanding lead here. We saw Fakhri obviously fluffed the last opportunity that he got, and I think Charles will definitely be looking at making sure that he doesn't make the same mistakes. And it is with great pleasure that I welcome a guest into our host box. Yeah, so we've got a special guest in the office, Rafik Lambada.
Hi everybody. Welcome to the Advice Cube Grand Prix final.
Yeah, so welcome, Mr. Rafik Lambada. We're making this a little bit of a tradition for you to come and join us here in the finals. And it's always good having you join us, the South African national head coach of snooker, Mr. Rafik Lambada, joining us in commentary. So if you just give us a moment, we'll have Mr. Rafik join us. Just checking some technical issues, but Mr. Rafik will be joining us shortly as we see Charles is at the table. He's now continuing on with his 16 break. Charles definitely looking like he's in a lot more control than he was in his semi-final against Jaden. Great to see. So yeah, there we go. Now we can welcome you into the commentary, Mr. Rafik.
Thanks. Thank you, gentlemen. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. Once again, like you said, it's becoming a bit of a tradition. But it's good to be here in Durban. Weather's lovely and an exciting final again, I must say. I think even though Charles leads by a frame, Fakhri's up for it.
Absolutely, and he faced you yesterday, Fakhri.
Yes.
In the quarterfinal.
Correct.
And he wasn't playing like himself. You obviously sparring partners, you his coach as well. Looked like something was off. He was just not able to get the breaks going. Did you have a chat with him after the match?
We did have a chat after the match. The thing about traveling to a venue, you're out of your comfort zone. Some players, have the ability to acclimatize, and that wasn't the issue. He was missing simple raids, and when I saw that, I climbed in. And then this morning with his game with Mutalib Ali, the Fakhri that we know pitched up.
Yeah, that was a great match to see. I had it in a slight line of sight. Alison and I doing commentary together. I was able to see what's happening on the table, and he was looking a lot more fluid. That was the Fakhri that we know.
Correct.
Almost looks like he's playing exhibition snooker the whole time.
Yeah.
And you could see he was feeling good. And he also started off the previous frame. He started off exactly the same, which gives me some good signs that we're in for a cracker of a final.
Definitely. Yeah, he's up for it. We had a small conversation just before the start of the match, and he told me he's ready. He's ready for it.
Absolutely. And it's now, we've also said, the fourth consecutive final between these two gents. They also played the doubles together. So...
And that's what makes this game so tough, is that they both know one another's games. So from a technical standpoint, Fakhri knows Charles' game, and Charles knows Fakhri's game. So safeties in this game is a misnomer. The reason I say that is because they're well aware of what the other can do. So it's gonna be down to break building and a real potting fest.
And getting an opportunity and grasping it with both hands, feet, teeth, everything that you can, because you might not get one anytime soon.
Yes, throw the kitchen sink in as well,
Then we also saw Charles in his semi-final match, which was a tough one. I mean, that 116 from yesterday was incredible. Then he got here this morning and Charles was completely out of sorts. Yes, I know, he shot his tip off, and that throws you completely because it's...
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what happened there.
What had happened is Charles plays with a specific brand of tip, a Kamui. It's called Kamui, and it's a multi-layer tip. And in his 116 break, the tip splintered or broke on the edge. We tried to fix it. We tried to keep it together for his morning match, for his semi-final. And I wasn't here, and I got a message at about 10:30, just after the semi-final had started, that Rafik, my tip is gone. I need a new tip. and he borrowed the head ref's cue and started playing with it. And as soon as I got you, I changed the tip. So he's still, it's a tip that needs to be played in. So he hasn't played that tip in. But he's feeling more comfortable. He's playing with his own cue. In this instance, I think he's doing well. He's doing well.
Yeah, that's good. And he's looking more like he is in his element now. He's more comfortable with his surrounds. Had a nice break of 46 just before it broke down. And yeah, looking more like the Charl that we used to know.
Yes. Buckley's got a chance to get some points on the scoreboard. Excellent shot there.
So, just trying to see exactly what the position is, as we can see Mr. Stefan Steenekamp just having a look there, just making sure he's not touching any of the balls with his body. Just unfortunately there, he's now left a great opportunity for Charl here to make it 2-0.
Yes, Charl can clear up here. He's got the option of the red in the bottom left-hand pocket as we see it. And he's going to play it late for the black.
It's just the two reds that's over to the left and right on the rails. It's now complicating things a little bit for Charl. Trying to have a look at the points quickly if he's going to need those reds. At the moment, he might need one of them.
Yes.
He's probably going to feel that he needs all the reds. He's not playing a nobody here, so he
Yes.
just want to make sure that he sweeps everything that's there to be swept.
The optimum would be to clear the table. In that way, your opponent's not getting any table time, and you're getting more table time in terms of you playing more. The more you play,
Yeah,
the more relaxed you become.
We were actually talking about it just before you came into the commentary booth. The first frame, Fakhri started extremely well, and he just never got a chance after that.
Yeah,
He got cold sitting there.
The minute you start sitting in your chair and watching your opponent, you're getting cold because that rhythm is being broken.
Interesting to see now, playing this ping to the middle, how Charl intends to get onto his next red. Just going to follow it through. Oh, in the jaw, comes back out, and he's now played position for the red for Fakhri.
.33 the diff with 43 on the table.
Yeah, this is now the crucial shot because he's on the black. Needs to get onto this last red unless he wants to try and play it safe and contain. No, Fakhri.
He played the right shot, I think a bit too hard. Top spin, which would then allow it to curve as it curved, but obviously he took his eye off the ball during the pot, and that's why he missed. He's got 35. If Charl doesn't pot this red, it's still 35 on the table.
Very close there, but played that with safety in mind, knowing that if it drops, then great. If not, then at least the cue ball should have some distance in between itself and the red.
Yeah, Fakhri just having a look at the scoreboard as he lines up to play the shot. He's opted for safety. The problem with this safety shot is that the return safety could put him in a bit of trouble.
Absolutely, and there's a nice big target of a green, pink and yellow waiting just for someone to put a cue ball in behind there somewhere.
And there was a double kiss. I think here's the option. Fakhri is going to go with the snooker, play the red up the table. Remember that he's got 2 points that he can play with. So behind the blue, table up, he's got the pink there. So he'd pot the red, play the pink, and he's still within points to win the frame.
Absolutely, and now also with the position of that red in amongst the colors, it makes the margin of error so much smaller. Yes, it helps that the red is a little bit closer to the rail, but the problem is there's so many object balls there that you can hit before he makes contact, and this is a
Yeah.
very good snooker.
Yes, what Fakhri has done is he's played that white right up against, as we see there, up against the blue. So there's no chance of going off the side rails. He's got to go off the bottom top rail.
He needs to play this backwards in essence, and at least 2 rails to get to that red.
Shal working out the angle. He's on the right path there. He's seen the angle. He's seen the angle. He's coming off 3 cushions. And that's foul and a miss. Referee's got a tough job.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what I was referring to. The color surrounding that red just makes it so much harder. This is going to be a tough one for Charles to get out of.
Probably one of the most, well, it's the most difficult snooker that I've seen in this event so far to come out of. I think it's because he needs to first go backwards and then go to the front, so that makes it extremely difficult.
Yeah, the player's just helping the ref to realign the colors, put them back as close as possible to their original spot. The yellow has to move as well. Yeah. Yes, the yellow needs to move a bit to the right.
That all 3 of them
haven't picked it up.
Yellow, because that yellow is definitely way off where it was.
The pink as well. The pink is approximately where it was, but
the yellow is way out.
Yes.
And at that,
and there it was. Like I said, slightly right.
Like 2 fingers off.
Yes. This is where, the technology that the WPBS employed for the refs, where they have a real-time sort of, this is a tough snooker to come out of. Fakhri has the option of a free ball. Yeah, he's just pointing where the balls were, where the blue ball was. And he's opted for the free ball.
We'd like to welcome all our Cape Town viewers to this fantastic grand finale in this Advice Cube Grand Prix between Charles Yonk and Fakhri Hirden. Charles Yonk currently leading 1 and Fakhri trailing by that solitary 1. So we can see Charles in a very tight position where he got snookered here. Fakhri trying by all means to salvage. That was close. Fakhri is trying by all means to get something out of this and draw closer and closer to Charles to help him level terms, because he doesn't want to let Charles get out of his grasp.
Correct. Besides accumulating points by the fault, it's also putting him off his stride. So he's not potting balls anymore. He's trying to come out of a snooker. And that has a detrimental effect as well. It can play on your mind throughout the course of this match. And
it does.
Another foul and free ball as well, because the intended red, the solitary red, is now blocked by that yellow, so he couldn't play it. He's opted to put it back behind the blue. Charles having a wry smile there, trying to figure out the first way he played it was the correct way.
Definitely, but now he seems to have completely changed the approach.
Yes. Again.
It's not going to work.
So, Mr. Rafiq, if you can maybe explain to the viewers, at what point does the referee say, this is enough now? If he cannot get out of it, is there a point where the referee can say,
The
listen...
foul and a miss rule, Werner, works in such a way that it can continue at the player's discretion up until the time that snookers are required by, for example, Shaw now. So Shaw can keep on playing and causing a foul or making a foul. And once that amount, the score, is more than what exceeds on the table, and snookers are required by Shaw, it would then stop. And it seems as though that blue, yeah, Fakhri is just pointing that that blue is too high up. Mr. Steenekamp, the referee in charge of this final, yeah, as we saw it there in that clip. And this will widen the angle now. The black as well was in line, if I'm not mistaken. It's around about the same. Okay.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Some great work there by our technical team just to give us an idea as to exactly where the position of those balls were. But one also has to, Mr. Stefan Steenekamp is now the referee in this final, and he's been officiating over this table since yesterday morning, the 10 o'clock session, the 2 o'clock session, the 6 o'clock session, again this morning, 10 o'clock session. Now he's in the final, the 2 o'clock session. And we actually had a chat about it yesterday. How difficult is it for these match officials? Because you're not only concentrating as a player while you are playing, you as a match official are concentrating for both of these guys. You are foreseeing mistakes. You need to kind of recall where these things are while you are keeping track of scores. It's immense in terms of what these professionals do. And
Yes.
Stefan is an accredited referee.
Correct.
This isn't just a hobby or something. Who we asked who understands snooker, and would you be willing to be on camera? He's actually done courses and he's qualified.
He's certified, that is correct. You know, refereeing is a thankless job. Without, it's as you said in the opening, there are people behind the scenes that are always working so that we as the viewing public can appreciate and, you know, fall in love with this game. It's these guys that I take my hat off to. A thankless job. He's been on his feet for the last 48 hours. Yesterday's matches, this morning's match. It's unbelievable how they do it.
Absolutely, and you said now people working in the background and making these type of events work, and we actually see their logo. There's someone else who we're really proud of being a part of this is Advice Cube. They're the main sponsors for this event. And basically what they do is they specialize in short and long-term insurance. And in essence, what they do is your concerns in terms of what might happen tomorrow, if it's anything from a medical aid to vehicle insurance or an investment, if anything happens tomorrow, they are running everything in the background for you so that you don't have to worry about that. And they're doing absolutely incredible work. They are a fully licensed financial service provider, absolutely incredible group of people. So yeah, just on that note, while you're referring to people doing incredible work in the background, if, as I said, if you are concerned about tomorrow, give Advice Cube a call today, and they'll definitely be able to assist you. That looks good, very well played there. And on that note, thank you to the sponsors.
Unfortunate to have got that kiss. He's played Fakhri in now.
Fakhri's got Shao where he wants it now.
Yes.
He's got an opportunity to really make something out of this with the reds being out of the table, and he would have loved that cue to run a little bit more.
Correct. So what had happened there is he put on a trace of side to hold the white and come across, but because he played with side, it cannoned into the green, and that's what slowed the roll, not allowing him to get further, and he's got to use the long extension.
And now, not to be too pedantic, but for some of the viewers at home, if you're referring to side, what are you referring to when you're playing the cue ball?
So your white ball is basically an axis. You've got your X and Y axis. So basically he's playing on the Y axis, or on the right hand side or left hand side of the ball. You've got top, bottom, left, right. That the left and right is the side that we refer to.
As we see Fakhri with another little cheeky jab there at Shawl. He's tied him down behind that green again. A little bit easier this time than the previous snooker. But Fakhri saying, it's fine if I'm going to sit. I'm going to at least sit down while you give me points.
Correct. And this is one of the ways you break a player's momentum, is that you put him in these unusual snookers, you get him tied up, he's not potting, he's now working to get the ball safe. You must understand, with a snooker, you have to come out of the snooker, you have to make sure that the ball is not pottable, is lane safe. So it's up to the snooker gods, the way that, and there again,
Yeah.
some good snookers coming out from Fakhri. I think, I wouldn't say it's his ploy, but he's playing snooker. This is snooker.
This is what you call snooker at the end of
Yeah.
the day.
And it's really well played now. And also that black is a little bit of a
Whoa.
concern
That white
for
just
Shawl.
goes past the yellow.
You can see the look of frustration on Shaw's face. This is what Fakhri wants.
Yes. An excellent shot. Well weighted. It's the early stages of the match. It can turn this whole game on its head, where if Shawl is in control, that control then goes over to Fakhri, and Fakhri's got to make hay while the sun shines.
Definitely.
He's got to take this game by the scruff of the neck, start potting.
And just to put it into perspective, the impact that snookers has had now in this frame is, if you look at a normal game of snooker, there's 147 points up for grabs before taking into account any fouls.
Yes.
And how that's calculated is the reds are valued at 1 point. In combination with black, that makes it 8 points, since the black is valued at 7 points. So red and the black is 8 points. 15 of them gives you a total of 120.
Yeah.
And then you take the colors, so the 2 2 points for the yellow, the green is at 3, brown is at 4, the blue is at 5, the pink is at 6, black is 7. If you add those together, you get 27
Correct.
points. That's 147 points. But if you look at the score now, it's 59 and 67, already exceeding 120, and there's more than 20 left on the table. So that is the impact that snookers has now had in with regards to points allocated to Fakhri's score.
Yes. So if you look at the way Fakhri is playing this game, he's playing a very tactical game. He's playing a very tactical game. Shawl is going to be on point and try and pot. Get back into the frame. He's not far off. It's 8 points the difference, and then
Beautiful
excellent,
green.
beautiful green, like you say.
And again, just regain that momentum, because he started off with a good break in this
Correct.
frame. He had a good frame the previous one, and then Fakhri threw in a beautiful snooker, and that completely halted his momentum. And now just putting the balls again, you play as good as you feel.
Yes.
And if as soon as he starts making good contact and making some good balls, he might as well. He's looking pretty good to still take this frame.
Yeah, if you look, Shawl is employing his pre-shot routine, where he stands before the shot, puts his feet together, walks into the shot, and he misses the blue there. But he's doing everything properly. He's still, trying to gain some momentum.
That's some relief for Fakhri there,
Yes,
because that was en route to getting wrapped up.
correct. As you can see there, Shawl smiling to himself.
That's a wry smile, eh?
Yeah. He knows he had this frame in the bag.
And Mr. Lombardo, now obviously you referred to that pre-shot routine. And you described it in essence as well, is doing the same thing over and over and over again
Yes,
before
yes.
each shot, and that's what we refer to as a pre-shot routine. The importance of that for a player, would you agree that it boils down to you stop thinking about the smaller things, you now focus on the important thing, which is I need to make the ball. With a pre-shot routine, you're not is my shoulder moving correctly, is my elbow moving correctly, is the cue correctly in my hand? No, because you're doing the same thing over and over again, not
Yes.
just only in matches. When you practice, when you do anything at that table, it needs to be the same thing. Even if you're playing with friends at a family gathering, if you now
Correct.
go and break down that pre-shot routine, you're doing your game
Yes.
an injustice.
Correct. There's with coaching we have what is called the pre-shot routine, the during the shot routine, and the post-shot routine. So each stage and
Cue
the
ball
white
gone
ball,
down.
yeah,
That's the last
That's
thing
gonna
that he
hurt.
needs.
that is gonna hurt.
That is the last thing that he needs right now.
Yes. Shah looking at the scoreboard. The blue and the pink. And that'll seal the frame.
That's all that is required by Charles now, is this blue and pink.
It's a delicate shot because he had to play it firm enough to pot it and then get position on the pink. He didn't want to lay too high and not be able to make the pot.
But that's also something that I saw in the matches, because I've been commentating on this table since the event started. The middle pockets on these tables, the players have really been battling with. Charles at times has looked the most comfortable, but the majority of the players have honestly been battling with the pockets on these middle pockets.
But having said that, Charles has only played on that table, like mostly after the Gold Reef Championship. Charles has played on this table only, and nowhere else.
If I have to be honest, I actually had my quarterfinal match on this table, and personally, I thought they were bucket, the center pocket. It's I think how you see the pocket. There's this adage of when you're in a match, you're under pressure, you're concentrating. All of a sudden, those pockets seem to shrink, and I think that's the cause. When you're confident and you're strutting around the table, the pockets are like buckets. So the adverse happens when you're under pressure,
So just for our viewers, the black ball carries 7 points.
Correct.
And if Charles is the one to pot it, he's going to go to 78.
Correct. So the scores would be tied, and that would lead us to what is called a respotted black. So the black comes out of the pocket, back on its spot. The referee will take a coin, make a toss, and see who is going to break off. Break off, either potting that black from ball in hand or playing it safe. Up to the player. An excellent long pot there. Charles drawing level.
No, that was an absolutely beautiful shot being played there by Charles, and just the distance that you need to cover, and if you're off by a millimeter when you actually take aim, by the time that cue ball reaches the black that he played now, it's off by 3-4 millimeters, which results in a complete miss.
Correct.
So absolute accuracy there by Charles, beautifully played. So 78, black being spotted on its spot. We'll see the coin toss.
There we go. And I think Charles opted for Fakhri to go in. Yeah. The players having a laugh, and yeah, Fakhri's going in.
That's also what's great about this is these guys they're competing for 75,000 rand. It's a lot of money, a lot of pressure. Yet they can have a smile. I saw a couple of the other matches as well where you have a fluke or your opponent has a fluke against you, and there's no animosity. These guys are friends on the table, off the table, great sportsmanship.
Yes, it is after all, you know, they say snooker is a gentleman's game. Today's day and age, it's one of the rare games where no matter what your differences are, this game brings you together. You have to be amicable on that table. It's the only way you can play the game.
Absolutely. I can imagine playing snooker alone might be fun for the first 5 minutes, but then it gets absolutely terrible.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is now a great opportunity for Charles to make this 2-0. So let's see if he can cue straight once again.
Yeah, you'll see him pre-shot routine. He's standing, looking, going down. Now it's the during the shot routine, the feathering, the pause, the back pause. Watch.
Beautifully played there, and that is 2-0.
Yeah. Charles just looking up to the
He had
heavens.
to work for that.
He had to work
frame.
for it, yes.
He really worked hard for it. All those snookers. And to get to this, he really, really worked.
But, you know, Alison, like I said, it's early stages. And I think this green as well, the technical team showing the green going off, going into the pocket there. That was the catalyst for the fight to come back from Shaw. And then obviously, a bit unlucky with coming out of that snooker and going in off, which then allowed Shaw to attempt the blue. He missed it. Fakhri potted it. Didn't capitalize. And the end result, he loses the frame.
What does that do to Fakhri's confidence? Because he really worked to get back into this frame. And for a moment, most people would have thought he deserved to win that frame in the end.
I wouldn't want to sound biased, Alison. You know, I am his practice partner, but it's going to make him fight back. He had the frame. He threw it away. Yeah, I think he's going to come out stronger. But excellent, well played to Charles. He's doing everything perfect. If you see that, he stayed down after the shot. The technical aspect of his game is 100%. I think that whole problem of my tip, came off this morning and it's gone. He's in the driving seat. He wants to take this one. He wants this title again. I must say, My Day Brands, the juice, I don't know if you guys have tasted it. Excellent. I cannot just stop talking about My Day. It is the juice and nectar of the gods.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really tasty, and to be honest, I can't wait for these events because I normally get to take a couple of home with me. Not sure the CEO of Pro Snooker is aware of the quantities, but I do manage to scavenge a few. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. It's if I could have that every day, then it would have been an option. But the belly might say have a say.
Yes.
There's too much of anything is a bad thing, but that gets pretty close to not being one of them.
Fakhri attempting a long pot. Beautiful. And this is his game. Fakhri is not one to shy away from a shot. He's not going to turn down a pot. He will take the pot on because he knows his capability.
Yeah, most of the pots that he does, some people do them only when they are winning already.
Correct.
And that's his game. He enjoys it.
Yes, people say he plays a flamboyant game, but they don't realize that is his game. And I'll tell you, when he's on song, there's not many that can stop him. I always tease him that Charles took him to play the pairs because, that saying of your friends you keep close, but your enemies you keep closer. So, I think that's what happened there.
Partners.
Yeah. He's underhit that, so he can't get to the two reds that he was playing for, which was just below that main pack.
You can see there,
Yeah.
Charles just looking on, he's just waiting for an opportunity to come back to the table, which might not be too far off. Seeing a containing shot being played here by Fakhri. Knew that he ran out of position, so doing his best to do some damage control, and
Yeah.
don't think he's left Charles with much.
What's going to happen is there's going to be a ricochet effect on that pack, which is going to push balls in every direction if he clips it too hard. And end result, the blue coming to his rescue, but he's still got, Fakhri's got the red nearest to the bottom right hand pocket, and he'll go up, or he could stay for the pink, but the right shot is to play for the blue.
And Mr. Lombardo, if you can maybe explain to the viewers as well as we saw now there, Charles didn't really have a shot that he could go to and play, yet he just played off of the side and then try to get the cue ball back into the bulk, which is in essence where the yellow, brown and green is, that
Yes.
line behind it. Some of the viewers at home might think, why don't you just go into the pack? You might make one, and yes, you might have balls all over the show. Why is it that snooker players don't opt to have balls all over? And
It's about finesse. This game requires a lot of skill and finesse. And one of the most beautiful things to watch is a player that has the ability to take out a red from the pack, play a color, or in this instance, the black, loosen a few reds, pot those reds with a few blacks, go into the pack again, and slowly sort of pick out the reds from the pack and do a clearance. With the reds going into the pack, or the white ball going into the pack, you have this where reds are all over the table. And for example, that shot that Charles played, there's 2-3 balls almost on the rail. Those shots sometimes are a bit hard.
I'd absolutely agree with you. There's nothing better to see someone actually physically, as you described it perfectly,
Yes.
pick off and loosen reds from the cluster.
Correct.
Nothing better to see, but in my opinion, it's also very important for a snooker player that if you have so much traffic on the table, it's incredibly difficult to then get position. Yes, you might have a red that you can play for.
Correct.
But if there's reds all over, how do you get on a color if there's traffic and congestion the whole way?
Yes. So, we in coaching we describe travel. So this shot that Fakhri's playing requires a lot of travel. The white ball has to travel over a certain distance in order to make contact with the object ball. Now, when you playing in the pack and those reds are about a foot apart, it's simple. Over long distance, if you look at all the long distance shots, you have to be so accurate. Short distance, the accuracy is there, you're potting the ball. And that's why you'll hear the commentators say, keeping the white on a shoestring. That's the optimum. Fakhri will pot this and screw up for the blue, or he had the option of the pink, but knowing him and practicing with him, he'll play for the blue and then work his way down the table.
That was a beautiful looking shot there by Fakhri. Now in and amongst the reds, and then now it's just about, as you said, that cue ball on a string.
Yes.
And making sure that you can now go about connecting the dots. Also wants to try and free up that black as quickly as possible.
Yeah, he's going to play the pink into the center pocket and those reds directly above. The top one goes into the bottom left-hand pocket. Okay, he's going the other way and loosen the black now. Great thinking there.
And
It's
then
like cannon.
there we go. That's absolutely perfect. Used the one red just to hold the cue ball. Left perfectly on the black, elevating the back of the cue so you can play lower down. Doesn't cause a push shot, which is a foul.
Yes.
And just making sure that that cue ball comes back just half an inch.
It's in these situations that he is, very, very deadly. When he starts stroking the way he's playing right now, that's when he's going to now, he should be able to dislodge a few more reds, make a sizable break and contribution here.
The only concern for him would now obviously be the 2 reds that's at the bottom rail, as well as the 4 reds that's to the left. That's a little cluster there. 4 reds to the left looks to be quite a big target. Unfortunate miss there. Quite a big target just to loosen them up and get them off the rail.
Yes.
But a lot of hard work still left in this frame.
Yes, and with all the balls up against the rails, Charles' work is cut out here. And there we go, he loosens 2 balls. So we've got 3 out in the open, 5 on the rail. That would be a touch-in ball.
Fakhri reckoning if you want to loosen the balls, then that's fine. You
Yeah.
loosen them and I'll come and pot them when you're done. Doesn't want to do the hard work for Charles.
And there's the
Definitely
touching.
Yeah.
Oh, is it touching? No,
Yes.
it wasn't touching. It wasn't touching.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. So with a touching ball, he had to play away. Those balls can't move.
That's what
That
I
there
meant,
would
yeah.
be that it wasn't touching and it was so close that he had to play up against them.
That's correct.
Yeah,
Yes,
Charles
that's right.
got a shot into the center pocket. If he plays this right, he could come down for the blue or play for one of the ball colors.
And there's a little bit of a gap between the cue ball and the rail, so he can cue this nicely. Just needs to make sure that he avoids the colors coming back out of bulk, which he's done beautifully.
He's on the green or the yellow. Play the green.
He's got a red right there, so just
Yeah.
will come off the rail ever so slightly and just land back onto that red. And just clearing up the bulk end as well, because we see that quite often, that as soon as that red is in bulk, that then completely takes bulk away. I refer to it as a safe space. It no
Yes.
longer becomes a safe space.
Correct.
So getting that red out of the bulk opens up that safe space again, and he can just carry on and make his way back up the table towards the black.
Excellent control. You know, they say snooker is like the ocean, the ebb and the flow. It's giving, taking, and it's those players who have the ability to sustain that taking that eventually emerge as winners.
It's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
And that's been the initial onset and aim of pro snooker. Is we have a lot of talent within South Africa, and there's a lot of players that are interested in playing snooker, cue sports, but getting them used to the level of this standard, where they're playing on a Waraka table, it's Stracha number 10, it's Aramuth balls, it's absolutely world standard
Yes.
in terms of what you can expect if you have to go and play overseas, just so that the players can now acclimatize to being on television, having people watch you, having the video there, so that if you've stuffed up, I can actually go back and I can see, creating those opportunities for
Yes,
them.
correct.
And then we also had companies, incredible companies such as Advice Cube, come in, and they said, here's 75,000 Rand. We appreciate what you as players are doing, and
Correct.
pushing that back towards the players. And yourself as a player, yourself as a snooker lover, you'll absolutely agree with us that this is how we're going to now get back to the heydays of snooker, the incredible
Yes.
days when you didn't find a pool table, it was a snooker table. That's the only way we're going to get back there, is to actually show and incentivize the players that this is how and why this is going to work, and at the same time also encouraging yourself as an organizer for the Advice Cube qualifiers.
Yes.
It's open to anyone.
Correct.
You don't have to be a seeded player.
100%.
The dates are posted. You come and play. If you win, get you a spot in the main qualifier. If you win that, you are here.
That
the
is
top
correct.
16.
Yes. It's Pro Snooker's done a lot. players in South Africa never had this platform before. A big thanks to Pro Snooker for bringing it and presenting it to the players the way they have. Not many players have had the opportunity of playing on TV or been live streamed before, and this is the perfect platform. What I would like Pro Snooker to do and see them do in the future is have more of these for the juniors. It's I remember watching TV and seeing Sean Murphy as a 13-year-old playing Steve Davis in an exhibition match. I saw, I'm giving away my age now, but I saw Stephen Henry as a junior playing an exhibition match. Ronnie as a junior playing an exhibition match. So we, I'm going to propose it that we bring juniors to this level. Let them start right now, and that will develop that love and interest.
And even more importantly, so the fundamentals.
Yes.
Because, I mean, my history in Q Sport is my father. I was lucky enough that my father had a table at home, and it was a pool table, not a snooker table.
Yes.
And I started playing because it was fun, and it is great fun.
Correct.
But in that, I learned so many wrong things, and it is now almost impossible to unlearn. You basically have to forget everything and then start from scratch again.
Correct, yes. And this is where we say, the programs that are out there for juniors, the schools programs, the coaching programs, having coaches around the country, it takes a lot to unlearn all the wrong that you've learned over the years.
Very good shot now, played by Charles.
Yeah.
Just returning that favor of the snooker. Again.
Fakhri could go for a 3 cushion. So across.
Needs to be wary here because Fakhri was in control of this frame and Charles now staging a fight back. And it is within his reach, so he needs to be very careful. He's played that well.
Excellent return there.
He's definitely not left Charles with much.
It's like I said, it's up to the snooker gods when you come out of a snooker. You don't know where that red or that color ball's going to lay. But a good shot from Fakhri. Charles weighing up the options where to put that white ball. Does he play that red safe? He's looking at screwing that white behind the black, playing the red to the top.
So you refer to the side. Screwing is exactly what Charles is doing now. He's playing at the bottom, towards the bottom of the cue ball. And that, in essence, then bites onto the cloth and changes the angle in which the direction of the cue ball that it was moving. So it bites and comes back. And that's, in essence, what Mr. Lombardo was referring to. Screwing back, and the opposite of that would be to follow, where you play on the top of the cue ball. So it slides, and as soon as it makes contact,
correct, yes.
It then bites onto the cushion and moves forward more. So there's now a whole combination of shots that you can play with follow and side, which is then, for example, a top left, which would then have a completely different reaction, and that's down to practicing and understanding what you're trying to achieve when you're playing those shots.
Correct. Charles under a bit of pressure here. He needs to get that red. The red's out in the open. Charles has to make contact with that red. 22 the difference with 35 on the table.
Three cushions, that looks so close, just underneath it.
Yeah.
Wasn't too far off.
I think he's going to call it again. Yeah, he's called it.
Asking Mr. Steenkamp just to put the ball back in position and Charles to play that shot again.
And if you look, he doesn't have much area to play with because he played quite close to the pink. But it's the only way he can come through and make contact. He's going to go slightly higher. Yeah, and there we go. So just changing it. Normally, with a foul and a miss, when you're in this type of situation, the first attempt, you're just measuring.
Yes.
That's it. On the second attempt, you will get the ball. You're
That's
making
again-
those final adjustments.
That's again why it is so important when players are told, stay down.
Yes, correct.
Because if you are down on the shot, you are seeing exactly where everything is going.
Correct.
If you now stand up too quickly, your brain is missing out on so much information in that whole process of you standing up because you want to. There's no reason for you to stand up. Stay down. Allow your brain to process what is happening. Because if you now stand up, you might think it is that spot on the rail where I just hit.
Correct.
But if you get up, it's actually shifted 3 or 4 millimeters in whichever direction. And even if you just, that's not just down to a snooker, that's just normally stroking the ball. If you're stroking the ball, stay down, see where you're making contact, see where your ball is going, see where your cue ball is going. Stay at that level because your brain is getting so much more information.
That is correct. It's a mantra we live by in the coaching fraternity, where we say, when you're on a shot, stay down. One of the reasons, this morning, excellent shot
Beautiful shot there by Fakhri.
is on the... He can play a brown into the yellow pocket. And here again, he'll employ a bit of side. Unless he's going to do the fireball and go around the table. But he's doing the right thing. So when I say he's employing the fireball, it's an exhibition shot.
So it even has its own name.
Yes.
So yeah, it's absolutely great to see when he's on fire. Excuse the pun. It's great to watch when a player is flowing, and that's when you're watching class acts. Is as soon as they start making it look easy,
Yes.
then it becomes almost worrisome because then you think that anyone can go and grab a cue and go and pull
And-
that off.
correct.
But that is what makes it beautiful to watch.
If anyone intends doing what he does on the table, they would have had to start at the age of 10, 11. That's when he started. This is a lifetime of playing where he's gained all that experience. So Charles spotted the green. He can play a long brown, but I would suggest he should play it into the center and get perfect position onto the blue. And he's opted for the safety because it's 33,
Definitely.
22 on the table.
He needs to
He needs
get
a
a
snooker.
couple of
Yeah.
snookers to win.
Fakhri can check side on the white, and this is playing opposite side now instead of left, right. The added bonus here is that Charles needs what we refer to as snookers. He needs points. He needs to accumulate points by snookering Fakhri. When there's 4 balls on the table, it's very difficult.
It's hard.
Yes.
He's obviously made an error here where he's left himself exposed, and on a good day, Fakhri will deposit that. It's not a
Commentator's
greatest
curse.
day.
Commentator's curse. Yeah, he's got it's a 30 lead that Fakhri has with only 22 on the table. And snooker is one of those games where, it can change.
In an instant.
Yeah, the ebb and the flow.
So
This looks like a
This-
snooker.
this 2-0 scoreline does not reflect how difficult it was for Charles to even get those two, eh?
Yeah, and he's conceded the frame.
Yes.
Good.
How important is this one for Fakhri right now?
Like I said,
He
The
did
ebb
say
and
that
the
he'll
flow.
come back.
yeah, he's aim for it. Being 2-0 down, it's not the loss It doesn't mean you've lost the match. It just means you've got to fight harder, and he's a fighter. He's going to bring the
You've
fire.
been in such situations yourself. The one that I recall, the most remarkable one that I recall was when you beat Kiashan Mudley in the Gold Reef City Championship. You came, I think, 4-0.
Yeah, I was 5-1 down.
5-1 down.
4-1 down to Kioshin, and I beat him 5-4.
Yes.
Yes.
That was a remarkable comeback.
I think that day the snooker god smiled on me, Alison.
If there were bookmarkers on that day,
yeah,
people would have made, they'd either have lost so much money or made a lot of money.
Yeah, it's I must say, I've been involved with pro snooker from the start. When we did the exhibition matches,
yes,
and I never thought that I'd be a player or a seed for that matter. And
yeah, I remember you were a referee.
I was refereeing, yes, and doing coaching as well. And I never, in my wildest dreams, thought I would be playing as a seed. And I made it into the seeds, and I've been here now for the last 4 tournaments, and I'm enjoying it. It's made me appreciate what pro snooker's done. It's made me appreciate that I've got sponsors. And once again, Advice Cube, My Day Juice, Pro Snooker, Q Masters, United, all coming on board to make it possible so that I can play the game that I've grown to love, through my lifetime.
Yeah.
And that particular match with Kioshin, where I beat him 5-4, like I say, I think the snooker gods were smiling on me that day. I thought I was dead and buried, and I kept on telling myself, I just need one chance.
Yeah.
And I made it 5-4.
Yeah, that was one of your best comebacks ever.
I'll never forget the CEO of Gold Reef actually after the match came to me and sort of wanted to lift me up, and he actually knocked the air out of me the way he hugged me.
And Kiashan was in such a fiery form.
Yes, I didn't see those first 4 frames.
Yeah, he was in he had destroyed Orlando Pistana.
Yes.
In his first game, and I think it destroyed someone else, but he was
on fire.
Yeah, each frame was winning like around 70, 80.
Yes.
And one of them, he did 104 break or something.
Correct. And we're back at the 4th frame now. Slight miscue.
This is the story, the entire event of Charles Tip. Charles Tip misbehaving constantly throughout, and this is now probably the 4th time that it's caused him a problem. And a foul for 5. That's the value of the blue being awarded to Fakhri on the first shot. And this actually brings me to an interesting question for you, Mr. Lambert. I've got 2 before I say thank you and you can go and sit and enjoy the snooker. First question I've got is 5 on the board now. 147, that is the maximum break as understood in snooker.
Yes.
But there is actually a situation, this is not one of them, where you could score in a single break more than 147.
That is correct.
And that is with a free ball.
Yes.
How does that work?
So what would happen is, for example, now, Charles miscued, played the blue. However, if that white had remained above the blue and he couldn't see any of the reds, he would have been snookered. So he would nominate one of the colors as a red, pot the color. So, for example, argument's sake, hypothetically speaking, he would take the green. So that green would become a red. He'd pot it, come down for the black, play the black, go into the pack, 155.
There we go, yeah. So that in essence was a little bit too technical, but that is an interesting factor behind snooker. 147 isn't in essence the highest break you can make. It is possible. I'm not aware. I've never seen a match where that's happened. I'm not sure if it has ever happened. Yes, it is more. You can score more than 147, but in a single break, that's the only possible way. Is you require a free ball, which in essence means that you now have 16 reds,
yeah,
not 15.
The 155 has been done. As early, or I think about 2 years ago it was done. in the UK by one of the UK players. An excellent centre pocket pot there by Fakhri. I think he's got the black into the centre pocket as well. So yeah, coming back to that break, it is possible. It is possible. And once again, we talk about the snooker gods. And there we see one black, one red, break at 8.
Yeah, it's absolutely a great display of accuracy by Fakhri. Then, Mr. Lombardo, my last question, and this is a little bit closer to home. We've now mentioned how much we appreciate companies such as Advice Cube for sponsoring these events, My Day Brands for being so heavily involved in Q Sport, Q Masters, Pro Snooker, everything that they do for the players and for the sport as a whole. While we're having a chat in between the frames, they brought up that display and you could see some details, and it was special because right at the bottom it was the home clubs of these players.
Correct.
These companies put in a lot of work during tournaments, but in between the clubs, Fakhri playing from Wanderers, yourself,
Correct, yes.
also from Wanderers, Charles from the DS Snooker Club.
Yes.
These guys, the clubs themselves look after the players immensely, and if it wasn't for the clubs, there wouldn't be tables. Let's be realistic, it's a 12-foot table.
Yes.
Who has space for a 12-foot table?
Exactly.
An absolute minority has place for a snooker table. If it wasn't for the clubs, and that's why if you talk to players about your home club, they talk with passion because they honestly appreciate that. And I think just from my side, and you can add on to that, the absolute appreciation from the whole fraternity for the clubs and how much we value them, and just a massive thank you to them.
No, 100%. I totally agree with that. We're fortunate, Fakhri and I, that we come from a club which is very steeped in history in terms of it's one of the oldest clubs in South Africa. Unfortunately, in 2003, our club burned down. However, with insurance, they rebuilt the club, and we went from a 6-table venue to a 11-table venue. We're very, very fortunate. Without the clubs, I doubt any of this would be possible, because then there's no players. So you're quite right. Dyers Club, I've been to the Dyers Club in PE. I've done a coaching clinic there. Excellent, beautiful club. But clubs are dying out, and that's one of the reasons why pro snooker is here, so that we can sort of regenerate the interest, regenerate the love, get people interested. And this is where the sponsors come along, and they are the key for this whole regeneration of snooker in South Africa.
Yeah, I think you took it full circle there with everything that I want to close off before I say thank you. Is without the clubs, we wouldn't have these incredible players. And as you said it there, without your insurance, we wouldn't have a Wanderers club. So Advice Cube,
yes,
that's the go-to.
I'm actually going to go and insure my queue with them.
It's absolutely incredible. Mr. Vimal Singh, the MD, incredible guy, incredible group of people, absolute professionals. So a big thank you again to them for being a part of this Advice Cube Grand Prix. And on that note, Mr. Lombardo, have a wonderful final. Enjoy.
Well, thank you for having me. Alison, it's been a great pleasure.
As always.
It's lovely. And good luck to the winner.
Indeed. Thank you.
Right, so quite a close final that we have. Currently 2-1, Fakhri in the lead in this fourth frame. 13 points to 1. His opponent, Charles Jonk, was off to a good start. Fakhri's now pulled him back, was 2-0, pulled back 1 frame. It's now a 2-1, and it's now, Ellison, looks to be pretty even.
It's evenly poised, and you can see Fakhri also taking his time now with his shots. There's a lot at stake, and he really, really wants to make sure that Shah doesn't run away with this. It's a tense final.
Yeah, you can absolutely feel it in the air. And that was plain and simple, just a tactical shot, is not being risky, not being flashy, knowing what's at stake, and just making sure that I leave my opponent with absolutely nothing. Does look like Charles is going to attempt this to the middle pocket. That looks great. Beautiful shot by Charles. You can see Fakhri's now going to go take a seat. Quite optimistic. You'll see that when players remain standing, that they feel quite good about what they've left their opponent with, because there's no need for them to go and sit down and stand back up again. As soon as Charles then made that red to the middle pocket, Fakhri went and took back his place in his seat.
Absolutely. Ooh, unlucky there. Very much unlucky. I don't know if the red that's next to the blue can go into that bottom right corner pocket.
Yeah, it looks like it does. Fakhri not looking twice, making sure they're going to go down it, but he wants to avoid the blue coming back out, which he's done perfectly. That then leaves him on the blue. Looks like he's on the black as well, but he wants to get the blue back onto its spot.
That'll be the wisest thing to do.
As quickly as possible, because that then frees up the pocket to the right hand side for those two reds where his hand is now.
He's got an opportunity to put a couple of points on the scoreboard and exert a little bit more pressure on Charles. As he opts to play towards the back line and set himself up for, I think he's going to play the blue or the green. He's going to go the distance.
I think he was actually playing for the blue there. Just a little bit too much power and rolled past the ideal position for him. Can still play this to the corner and make sure that the cue ball now moves into the direction of where those reds are. Very nice shot being played by Fakhri. So he's now on to his next loose red, which will play into the same pocket as he played the blue.
Not an easy shot to go along that rail there.
Absolutely. At least he doesn't have to do too much with the cue ball. Still quite a bit of power. Just the confidence that he had in that stroke. Could have played that quite a bit softer and still left himself on the black, but rattled and came back out. But just a replay of that beautiful shot. Just nicked the jaw. Oof, very close to that middle pocket for Charles. Again, just the side that he played onto that cue ball, just gripping on the rail.
He'd have set himself up nicely with a black there and a couple of those loose reds. But he hasn't left, has he left anything that much open for Fakhri there? For the center.
Yeah, looks like this red does go to the middle.
It doesn't go in.
These middle pockets are incredibly tough. Well, any pocket on a snooker table is incredibly tough, but good effort nonetheless.
Yeah, those middle pockets show no mercy at all. Charles doesn't seem to have issues with them though.
No, and he's got a reasonably easy opening red and a few loose reds that he can work with. Just wants to try and reduce that lead that Fakhri has at the moment. Played nicely onto the pink. Just need to take special care of where he's now going to take this cue ball. I think he's going to try and play for the red. That's just below where his cue tip now stopped, to the opposite middle pocket. Pink going back onto its spot. Currently on a break of 7. That's the one red that's valued at 1 point, and the pink that's valued at 6. So that's to take his break to 8 and his total score to 15, and that was a very clever shot that he played there. Not only did he make the red, but he took the one red off of the rail and allowed himself to now play for the blue, and then the red that he's just moved now. So very clever by Charles. Oof, that's a big miss. Was that a kick? Didn't expect him to miss it by that much.
I thought probably that was a miscue there. He had lined up the other red nicely for him to have a short to return to. Now that's going to be Fakhri's cleanup.
Yeah, and Fakhri will take that with pleasure. He's left in the red and the blue without much work to do. But now Fakhri needs to think, what is next after I play this blue? There's the red, there's the pink with a few reds surrounding it, the lowest position, so sending that cue ball running needs to avoid all the traffic. And just did not get on it exactly. That's very odd for Charles to miss it by that much. That could be a miscue because of the cue ball being so close to the rail, so not much to cue at. Again, just nudging a red back into play off the rail, sending the cue ball as safe as he possibly could by playing that shot. So he just ended up a little bit too high from his previous shot to get onto the red that he was playing at. Sending the cue ball to try and get it in behind that black. Didn't work out.
Guys, Fakhri does have a way there.
So now opting again just to go back into his safe space and bulk end. So red on here. Is Charles tempted by this? There's now quite a bit of traffic on the right hand side of the table, and all the reds are on the right hand side. So a lot of congestion for him to try and avoid if he wants to try and get back safe into bulk.
So we're about 1 hour 45 minutes into this game, with it being allocated 3.5 hours. What's your take? Do you think this will go down to the wire?
Yeah, I don't see anyone running away with it just yet. Both players have shown brief moments where they've had the momentum on their end, and then very proficiently broken by the opponent. But we're definitely seeing some interesting snooker. This is very serious in terms of how these players are approaching it, which I can absolutely justify if you take the prize money into consideration. So Charles again just taking his time just to make sure, as he's playing towards this cluster, I don't think he's going to go smash into them. I think he might just, yep, exactly like that, just roll into them. And again, just limit the options that Fakhri has to his disposal. Fakhri just having a look if he has a plant available, plant being where his hand is now the two roads that's right next to them. If he could use the one into the other down to the bottom right, but they didn't line up well enough. But he played that quite well again. Neither player has much to go at just yet.
we're definitely gonna see a bit of a safety battle for the next couple of minutes here.
It just takes one shot. That might even, I was almost a one shot
I think
required.
there's the red close to the pink.
That just next to the pink does go.
You must be considering that as well.
I'd just be thinking exactly which color he'd be going for afterwards. Which one might think it is the pink, seeing that the black is against the rail. So very clever there by Fakhri, using the reds. Oh, you can see the disappointment there in Charles' face. He was not happy with the outcome there.
Despair of a player who's really into this.
Absolutely, and as you can see there, as you said, Ellison, we might see a tactical exchange for quite a while, and it just took one mistake by Charles. Now all the balls, apart from one, are wide in the open, and up for grabs. It's just the one red that's to the right, and then the black that's awkward. So an opportunity here for commentator's curse. I do apologize, Fakhri. I'll tell that in person that
You cursed him there.
the ominous commentator's curse got the best of you there. But yeah, that was a golden opportunity for Fakhri to close out this frame and even out the scores. But now it falls over to Charles.
It's now or never, yeah.
Just needs to come back slightly with the cue ball. It's
Not
more
as
than fine.
much. Not as much as you'd have loved, though.
Just wants to play this red and get back onto the pink, possibly the blue as well. Does have the red just above the blue that he needs to get to at some point as well, so I might want to get to that now, but a great angle of the pocket. See there beautifully straight in. Removed the red from the rail that I said was problematic. Now needs to make sure that he gets onto the next red to the middle pocket and figure out exactly what he wants to do with those two reds.
Another very tight frame here. There hasn't been an easy frame so far in this game for any of these guys here.
Absolutely, and you couldn't expect anything less, seeing that it is seeded number 1 and 2, and after a whole weekend of snooker, there's definitely not a lack of table time for either of them. But I'd also just like to, that worked out almost perfectly. Played that intentionally to get into those two reds. He has made contact, but the one red's now awkward. So we'll just see Charles trying to find a place for the cue ball to go and hide. Just making sure that he's not leaving a possible shot for Fakhri. But this is now an opportunity for Fakhri to capitalize. Sort out the two reds, as well as get the cue ball safe. Almost scratching in the corner pocket. Turned out fine in the end. Does the yellow block the red and the pink the other red?
It seems like it. It's gonna have to come from the Christian side. Yeah.
It's still okay. Can play this red to the top left.
Yeah, well, there's a post that he's been doing very well throughout the tournament.
That looks good.
Yeah,
Beautiful shot,
he's been
nicely
doing
played.
well.
You can see Charles the onlooker right now. He's seeing that this frame is maybe sliding away from him a little bit. It's red quite important. He's onto the colors. Fakhri doesn't need the difficult black. Now just going through the formality of connecting these dots, and we see players practice this often. Bit awkward with the cue ball, seeing that Fakhri now needs to lift up the butt end of, you can see it also jumped there because he was raising the back end of the cue. Opportunity for Charles, not an easy one because he snookered. Fakhri raising his hand, just an apology. Things just not going Charles' way right now. You can see the trophy that they're playing for, the Advice Cube Grand Prix trophy. That's just behind Mr. Steenekamp, the match official. Contact made, no damage done. Try and leave the cue ball. That worked out quite well as well, because there's nothing that he can do with that yellow. Ooh, interesting.
Interesting
Now,
times.
how much of this yellow can Fakhri see? Looks like he has to go from the other end. I think
Doesn't look like a very difficult one though. Yeah.
that's a legal shot. The only thing that piqued my interest there was the close proximity of the black to the yellow, because a slight misjudgment. If the black wasn't there, you would have still contacted the yellow, but with the black there, if you contact the black first, it's 7 points. Now all of a sudden the score is 50-40. So a good shot being played by Fakhri to get out of that problem. Nicely played. And Alison, we've obviously mentioned all of the sponsors, but we haven't touched onto the players' personal sponsors.
Yes, yes.
Charles, sponsored by the rental company, and WRD Distributors, and Fakhri sponsored by Screen Vision.
Screen Vision.
So that also plays a big part for these players, because they're in a final now, and there's a lot of money at stake. Now can you imagine the expenses that they had to cover personally without these sponsors, the added pressure that they would have on them? One would almost say that you would see a drop in play because of that pressure, and just because these companies are assisting these players, it definitely does help a lot in terms of their performance and just the accessibility for them to play these events.
It goes a long way, because you get to be relaxed because the logistics are taken care of.
Okay.
You play your game. That's what you're there for. So it's a big shout out to all these corporates that are sponsoring pro snooker players and any other Q Sport players as well. It's a call to everyone to try by all means to sometimes you need to approach these companies and say, look, I will give you value in marketing, because the mistake that players make is just wanting sponsorship and not a return in value. So it goes together. You've got to show that I'm going to return. I'm going to give you a return in value. So if
Good
you
catch
don't,
there by
it
Mr.
seems like
Steenekamp.
he played cricket before, eh?
Well played. And some good camera work there by the guys from 360 Sport. Great group of people to work with. You can also go and follow them on YouTube, 360 Sport. Got a whole bunch of other live sports on there, and a great bunch of guys as well. Some good footage coming there from the team. Thanks to them as well for being involved. So you can see there another containing shot being played by Fakhri, not willing to relent anything to Charles. None of the two players want to give an inch to the other one.
It's the respect that they have for each other.
Oh.
They've got high respect for each other. They know that the other one is capable of winning at any day. So
Yep.
Charles has been fortunate to win the last 4 encounters, but he's well aware that that can change any time.
A clever play here by Fakhri, sending it. Oh, almost backfired, because he's left the cue ball behind the pink, knowing that he's going to send the cue ball the opposite end of that pink, thus snookering Charles. Again, you see the elevation of the back end. That's to impose a swerve on the cue ball. So in essence, it bites onto and turns and swerves just to reach that yellow, which he's done. And again, not much damage caused in the process. Shall just be returning the exchange. Oh, he's missed it. That is a foul.
One that he doesn't need to concede right now.
Where is that pink? No, pink is not in the way, so I can't call a free ball.
So Fakhri is 21 points ahead now.
27 on the table. They've been at this frame for quite a while now. Pink, oof, almost came into play, almost the middle pocket. Everything's happening. This is really tough. Almost got the pink first, then almost got the yellow in the middle pocket. Yellow finally being potted after various attempts by both of these players, but then ended up snookering himself. Cue ball down. There we go.
What happened there? I'm failing to understand what was the intent there.
Cue ball going down. That's 4 points being returned to Charles. Uh, 25 remaining on the table.
Down to 22. Ooh, unlucky. That will see.
That was tough.
That will see Fakhri running with this now.
We'll take the difference to 19. Brown being potted by Fakhri. No hesitation. Needs to make this blue as well to the middle. Does. On the pink, one would say this is now 2-2.
Most certainly.
See the way that he's played that. All that he cares about is making that pink, turns around, gets back to chair, knows that's gone. 2-2. We definitely have a final on our hands.
Definitely living up to its expectation. Nothing like a one-sided final. This they are both really having to work for.
Absolutely.
So they're back on level terms. It's been 2 hours of play. and they are locked at 2 frames each.
Yeah, only 4 frames played, which would indicate, unless either Fakhri or Charles has a few quickfire frames, that we might see time come into play here yet again. However, the difference in the previous occasions where Charles saw it through, Charles was trailing. Actually, we see that a great catch there by Stefan again. Some good work there by our match official, making sure he doesn't drop the ball. And that snooker behind the pink. Escaped. And that's the cue ball going down. 4 points awarded to Charles from that shot, but couldn't capitalize. He missed this brown. Rattled and came out, and that was the conclusion. You can see the disappointment by Charles there. He knew that that was his ticket to make it 3-1. And for Charles, the reading is so much easier with 3-1 compared to 2-2.
Yeah, most definitely. Players have taken a bathroom break.
Just coming back onto the screen there again. Advice Cube Insuring Assets. Give them a call. If you care about tomorrow, call them today. 086 173 2688 is their contact number, or just go onto advicecube.co.za. But don't do that while you change the final. Grab someone else's phone, go onto advicecube.co.za and go and see all of the services that they offer. They do specialize in short and long-term insurance, as well as administrative and fiduciary services. Great group of people, and we really appreciate their sponsorship of this Advice Cube Grand Prix, as well as to the top left you can see there My Day Brands, Mr. Di Moodley, apart from keeping us out of trouble in terms of our thirst levels. They do great work with Q Sports as a whole. Mr. Di Moodley has a great passion for Q Sport, so we really appreciate their involvement as well. And this is a pro snooker promotion, so while we see Charles returning there, and we're just awaiting Fakhri to make his way back to his chair, this is a pro snooker event, and we host a couple of them throughout the year, and we'll get into and touch this base quickly again as to how you can actually get into these events. But do yourself a favor, jump onto Facebook, go to Pro Snooker on Facebook, and make sure that you do follow them on there, because you'll stay up to date with regards to all of the upcoming events, as well as fixtures, and all of the preceding matches leading up to this final will be live on Pro Snooker's Facebook page. So do yourself a favor, not just for this event, but moving forward as well. You can get all of that information from there. As we see, Charles is ready to get going again, just waiting for Fakhri to return, which he'll do as I say that, walking back. This is the final. Before this we had the semi-finals, the quarterfinals, and the top 16. The top 16 started yesterday morning at 10, but this whole Advice Cube event started way before with the Advice Cube qualifiers. Maybe we can touch on to that a little bit, Alison.
Yeah, now the journey to get to where we are today, or to where these players are, is by means of looking for a venue that's closest to you, that's got snooker tables, and that does host mini qualifiers. We've got a couple of venues around the country, mostly in Johannesburg, Durban, Cape Town, Mpumalanga.
Cue ball going down. That's a big mistake by Charles.
Massive one. Second time he's made a mistake soon after the break, man. Yeah, so you just need to, hopefully we get more cities that participate in the mini qualifiers. But so you play in the mini qualifiers, which can be a lot. The mini qualifiers are not necessarily limited. They have a lot because they build up to the main qualifier. So from the mini qualifier, it's a build up to the main qualifier. And from the main qualifier, the solitary winner of the main qualifier then books their spot into the main event, such as this one that we're having now. So the nice thing is that the more you participate in all these events, they are ranked events. So there's points to play for. Even from the qualifier stage, there's certain points that you get for being a part of that. And yeah, so it's 8 seeded players, and it's 8 qualifiers, and it's up to the qualifiers to do well. For example, we had a qualifier like for example Mervyn Donnelly got to the last 8. He'd have amassed 4,500 points for his efforts. So if he qualifies again and plays until the quarters or the semis, I mean, he's building up his points, and it's a matter of time before he gets to be seeded, you know. So everyone who fell off the last 16 earned themselves 3,000 ranking points.
Yeah, so that is a brief description of exactly how these events are formed. As Alison said, there 8 spots guaranteed to the top 8 seeds, and then 8 spots available in the main event. You play an Advice Cube mini qualifier. If you win that one, you get a guaranteed spot in the Advice Cube main qualifier. If you win that one, that guarantees a spot into the main event, as one of the 8 spots are available. And there's a whole host of them right around the country. There are organizers that host these events. You do not have to be registered to any affiliation. You do not have to have any snooker credentials. If you want to play, you can come and play one of the qualifiers, and you can get a spot through into one of these events.
Yeah, indeed. That's the nice thing. There's no discriminating towards whether you are an experienced snooker player, or whether you are a junior, or whether you are a senior citizen, or whether you are a lady. Everyone is free to join the mini and the main qualifiers. Obviously, it all starts from the mini for you to be a part of the main qualifiers, but there is absolutely no discrimination for anyone to be a part of the qualifiers.
Yeah, absolutely, and it just makes it so much more accessible to players. And if you want to come and join us, it's a great group of people. As you could see there, these two fierce competitors facing each other in the final, yet they are able to crack a smile in and amongst themselves when we saw that re-spotted black. So we've actually been treated to quite a lot in this final. We've seen quite a lot take place. It's not just a runaway by either one of them. We've seen some great safety exchanges. We've seen some great snookers being exchanged. We even see saw re-spotted black. And that's not something that you see quite often, with scores being tied and no more balls left on the table. So we're seeing everything, and that's great, because that allows us to then introduce the game to the viewers watching us. And a big thank you to all of those viewers, Cape Town TV, everyone joining us on 360 Sport as well. So it's absolutely great to have you here with us, and I hope you're enjoying the snooker. If there's any questions, you're more than welcome to go and post them on our Facebook page, and we'll make sure that we tend to them as soon as possible.
Yeah, indeed, we are always quick to respond to any inquiries or respond to any suggestions that might be there. We love to hear your feedback, so it's important for you guys to interact with us on our Pro Snooker Facebook page.
As we see, quite a nice break being put together here by Charles, currently on 26. He's now made 5 reds. There's a yellow, a blue, and 2 blacks. And he's now on a black already. And this looks within reach. Just needs to see exactly which red he's going to play for next.
Quite a decent break that he's busy building here. It didn't go quite the way that he would have wanted. He's found himself a bit stuck in traffic there. Not much for him to do other than play for safety there, because Well, unless he's got... Okay, he seems to have that middle right pocket in view. I think he's going to go for that.
It could be a little bit deceiving. If not, then it's definitely safety just to send the cue ball back into the bulk end. Yeah, exactly that.
That's what he's done.
Nicely played in behind the green. So from there, Fakhri won't be able to clearly make a pot attempt to one of the reds. He's playing a combination there. Didn't work out at all for Fakhri there. He's left that red beautifully for Charles, and not too difficult to get onto the black from there.
Not at all, and Charles will be happy for that. I don't think he anticipated a gift this early.
Now looking at that, there's quite a bit of an angle, so not that easy to actually get onto the black. The angle was a lot more than the initial view that we saw.
Had to settle for the blue.
And that's again why it is so important for those colors to remain as close as possible to their original spots as you play through a frame. That's why the players at this level try and get those balls back into the spot as quickly as possible, because in essence you're leaving yourself with a color in each quarter of the table that you can play for. If all of the colors are at the top of the table and all of the reds are on the other end of the table, or they are restricted in terms of not having a pocket available to them, that just completely limits your options.
Yeah, and he's got that red to that left middle, and he sets himself up for onto the blue to the middle right.
And just floating it down for the two loose reds. See, they're just floating it down quietly. I'm trying to disturb the piece, just making sure that I do get onto the next red. I think we'll see him follow through onto the black now. There we go, so he is onto the black. And also quite important to note that he tries to not leave himself absolutely dead straight on the shot. Importance behind that is, as soon as you've got an angle that you can play with, then it allows you to actually manipulate the cue ball a little bit more. As you can see there, coming off of the rail and then trying to get it back into position. And he's now playing for the red just at the bottom of that cluster, and that'll also open up that cluster a little bit. There we go, so he's now got more access to anything in that cluster. We could also see there just a slight nudge as he runs into them. Just a slight nudge. And we could even see Charles drawing back this cue ball as he's playing from the black. We'll see now where he lines up the cue. And then adding a little bit of side to it. There we go. Just to get in behind those reds that he just worked to get a loose red. And he's now onto another red into the corner. And this is what Rafiq described in commentary a little bit earlier, is just the finesse behind being able to pick off the loose reds. Looking to play the one furthest to the left, because they will take the cue ball more towards the black again. And just allowing him to continue the break again, trying to not... Oof. That is unfortunate. But yeah, as in closing there, he didn't want to be straight on. But that happened. You could also see the cue ball bounced slightly, is just because he was elevating the back end of that cue. So you're playing down on the ball. That causes it to jump a little bit. And it's so intricate. There's so many technicalities involved to get to a high level. But yeah, again, Alison, I think you can agree with me. If any players are interested, this is a great group of people to actually get into playing snooker. You've got the two of South African national champions sitting there, and you'd be able to have a chat with them and get some advice and be able to play these guys is an absolute privilege. And
Very humble guys who are always willing to share their knowledge. They'll pass it on to anyone who's willing to accept it.
yeah, and characters in their own rights. I know Charles has a great sense of humor
A lot.
and enjoys his music. You'll see him get to the venue with his earpods in his ears, listening to some music. He absolutely loves his music. And Fakhri also known for his motorbike and probably being the best dressed snooker player amongst them. So,
Very snazzy.
yeah, you can see the Italian socks there at the peeking out from just above his shoes. You can see just about, yeah, you can see the Italian socks, always dressed very appropriately. A very tall gentleman as well, 1.9 meters. And that obviously helps a lot on a snooker table.
He's absolutely tall. The only other person who's this tall in the pro snooker events generally is Kiashin.
Yeah, Kiashin, that's correct. And yeah, also had, now that you're mentioning Kiashin, that was also another interesting, within the quarterfinals that Charles played. Kiashin won the title in 2012, 10 years younger than Charles.
And Charles wins the title 10 years later.
10 years later in 2022, yet he's 10 years older than Kiashin. So just shows you the performance that Kiashin put up at such a young age to win the title in 2012.
We talk about Kiashin. I personally feel that he's underperformed in these pro snooker events. He's supposed to be always like coming right to the business end of things. The one particular time that I really felt, you got knocked out by Rafik at the Gold Reef City Championship. He was guns blazing. I don't know what happened. He got knocked out. He was 4-1 up and went to lose on 5-4 or something.
Yeah, one thing that I can say about Kiashin, great guy, first of all. And second of all, he's probably the first snooker player that I saw in person standing right by the table playing. And he was pocketing balls and it sounded like gunshots. And I'm just going to leave it there. We all know the potential of the players here, and that's why we are a part of it. And we see a great attempt there by Charles into the corner pocket, staying out though. Don't think he's going to leave Fakhri with too much at the end of that shot.
No, not too much there.
Oof.
He defies all odds, eh?
Could see more of that red than initially thought. Plays it beautifully to the middle pocket and nicely onto the blue. Problem still is the two congested reds remaining. That pink's also a little bit awkward. And Fakhri will definitely need both of these reds as well as the pink to get back into contention for this frame. This is for the lead. Will it be restored back to Charles, or will Fakhri take the lead for the first time? Almost a very good shot, but I think he's now made a big mistake in terms of leaving this red onto the middle pockets. And we've seen Charles quite confidently play into the middle, and he'll have options with regards to the blue if he makes this. So let's just see if he can make it at first. That could be a very big shot in this match. That now takes it to 62, and more importantly, it's one less red in combination with the color that Fakhri can pot. Blue made, and this is now the important earmark of this frame, is there's 35 points left on the board. And Charles' score will now go to 67, as you can see there. So the difference is 37 and only 35 on the table. Off very close. So snooker required now by Fakhri.
Yeah, he definitely needs a couple of snookers to win. One would probably
Yeah,
just take him within reach.
one will definitely be enough. But if Charles makes this red, then it becomes even worse. Even if he doesn't make a color thereafter, because the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points from the yellow, green, brown, blue, pink and black remaining on the table will only be 27. And Charles' score will be on 68. So then 3 snookers required. So this red is incredibly important for Fakhri. And he doesn't allow Charles to pot it. And this is
Seems
now...
to have left himself in a very vulnerable position now.
That was an incredibly important ball. And
There
that
goes everything.
should secure the frame. 3 snookers now required. Misses. Don't see Fakhri coming back to the table. He has conceded indeed. Stefan Steenkamp will now get the next frame ready for us. Scores will be 3-2 at the start of the 6th frame.
We definitely have a final in the cards here. 3-2 simply means there's still a lot to play for with this match having just under an hour to go. It's interesting to see if Fakhri is going to draw level again and make it 3-3, and maybe the other one will do 4-3 and then 4-4, and we get to a decider. That's most likely to happen though, but let's see how everything unfolds. The match should end at 5:30. And it's so we hope that we see an ending that's epic. We like the drama, we like the suspense, but we would like it to end in good time. It's been blow after blow from both gentlemen. And Fakhri just really unlucky there with that one. Rattling the jaws of the pocket and coming out. That brings Charles to the table. Charles has had to extremely work for all the 3 frames that he's got. Sometimes some frames don't come as difficult as these ones, but these ones have really been a lot for Charles. And on the same token, Fakhri has had to fight for his 2 as well. Charles with the rest, eyeing that. I was eyeing a safety shot and brings the white ball back to the bulk line. Both will tread very carefully and not want to give anything away in these early stages of this game. It will always take one error from these players to get the other one going.
Now with a lot of traffic on the right-hand side as well, it's going to be difficult to get back into bulk. And also the blue is obstructing the balls. You can see there, traffic. And the blue is also obstructing the path on the left-hand side, so Charles forcing the error from Fakhri there. Charles not given an opportunity to capitalize on the mistake. But there's now a loose red on the left without any traffic. Fakhri will just push that back into the cluster, send the cue ball back into the bulk, and wait for Charles to then make a mistake. But we'll see a very similar shot from Charles. No one really willing to take the risk just yet. Just pushing more balls towards the traffic, and again Charles does a pretty good job of restricting access to Fakhri on the left hand side of the cluster. I think he can get through the gap between the pink and the blue, but Fakhri seeing another option. Yeah, he could.
It's the third time that Pocket has denied him access.
Yeah, and not able to get all the way back into the bulk end because of the amount of backspin in essence that he had to play. He had to draw the cue ball just to get it in through that gap around the bottom of the black spot. So an opportunity for Fakhri to go for this red. And denied once again. And he's now going to leave a possible red to the middle. You see the highlight of that shot, how close it is. Unless you're absolutely pinpoint perfect, cutting this red will send the cue ball running. Fortunately stopped by the brown. Options now for Charles. Can use one of the colors. You can see there where he was pointing with his cue is where he wants to end up. So he'll use one of the colors, going for the green, and then running the cue ball against the rail in that direction through the gap. Oh, misses. Red in the pocket, waiting for Fakhri now. Again, you can see how close it is. It is incredibly tight. Very difficult. We'll see some reaction from the cue ball here. You can see how low he's playing on it, drawing it back. And that is what happens when you play down on the cue ball like that. You play on the lower half, get a reaction for the cue ball to then come back. If you play on the top, it'll go forward. Because he couldn't play on the black, so he had to draw it back to get onto the pink spot. Now at least he has that backup red that's hanging in the pocket, because misjudged a little bit in terms of getting position onto his next red. It needs the extension added to the back end of his cue, as well as the rest. From Gentleman, that is 1.9 meters. Just puts the perspective of the table.
To show you how big this table is, eh?
Absolutely. It's 3-2 at the moment. And we have an hour left to play. So if Fakhri can make this 3-3, we're in for another nail biter. Fakhri taking his time. Gonna try and lock Shawl up again. Try and play the green. Oh, no. It's still okay, but Shawl can still see the left-hand side of that cluster again. Seeing if he can maybe cut this one in. This is almost just a gamble shot. If it goes, great, as long as the cue ball gets back into position behind that line. Almost. Has he left it on? It looks like he has.
Yes.
Oh, an opportunity for Fakhri once again. It's importantly Fakhri just taking a walk to where that ball is. Just getting a different perspective of exactly where the balls are and what he wants to try and achieve. You can see there, nicely played.
Pauses of it.
But ran into traffic once again. Not being able to get onto a colour. We'll see an end of the break. Send the cue ball back safe again. Shawl again just nudging a red into the others, trying to his best to get as much distance as possible once again. No pot being made, just the red into the black spot. Cue ball back around. Some really nice angles we're getting from the various cameras around this table.
Absolutely, and the replays also are priceless. When we get to miss anything, we get an opportunity to catch up.
See the focus.
It's focused. The tie's gone completely off on the side now, but that doesn't matter right now. What matters is the job at hand.
Oh, very close to getting in behind that green. No mistakes yet from either player to allow the opponent.
We are keeping it watertight.
So close. That now. Brown to the rescue.
That pocket keeps denying him, eh? Countless times now.
Yeah. Definitely not Fakhri's friend at the moment. Nothing really for Shawl to have a look at. Doesn't even have a red that he can play on to get back into the bulkhead, so Shawl's going to have to make another plan. He can try and contain options available to Fakhri's return. You can see Fakhri has remained standing. Knows that he's not left anything on for Shawl. So there's a bit of a predicament. Looks Looks like he might have a ball on. The lowest of the reds to the bottom left. Beautiful shot. Just the way that it was looking at that maybe told me that there might be something on. And it was. He's now on to both pink and blue, but one would say that he's going to go for the blue and run it through the gap between the yellow and the pink. No, avoided that gap and went past the pink.
This will open up the game a bit.
As soon as you are able to then determine where you want to take the cue ball, obviously you want to try and leave yourself in advantageous position, which Charles has done now. Going to play the red to the bottom left. Nicely played.
Is onto the pink.
Also importantly, he's not straight on the pink. If he was, could have played for the blue. But as soon as you are straight on a ball, you might feel that it is a little bit easier, but it makes your next shot a little bit more difficult because now you need to use a lot of reaction from the cue ball to get into position, whereas if there's an angle, just make use of that angle. He's now going to target the reds. That is on the bottom right. Quite a few of them, 6 in total. Almost half the rack of available reds is in that little corner. Combination shot here. Very difficult because in essence you are playing two different lines. Cue ball into the red, red into the other red. Nicely played.
Knows how to do it.
Now it has a shot on the pink as well. That pink is sending the cue ball with the angle towards those reds.
That red next to the black spoils the party. Otherwise the black would have been ideal.
Yeah, he would
He'd
have.
have loved for it to be respotted to its original position.
Absolutely. Let's see if he imposes any draw follow on here to navigate those reds. Doesn't want to end up awkward. So he has to put his knee on the table, needs to avoid the brown with his waistcoat. Nicely through the gap, threaded the needle beautifully. On a break of
20.
20. Nicely played once again. So now the black is open.
It's a very important shot, that leaving the black in solitary mode.
Yeah, as I was about to say, not sure he's going to go for the black just yet. So if he plays for the black, doesn't leave himself on another red. However, if he does play the blue, confidently into bulk and back out again, can now play for the red that's on the left. He wanted to play for the reds on the right hand side, but the pinks now spoiled that party. Again, not being straight on this red, he'll send the cue ball into the rail and then back out again. And he'll leave himself with options on both the pink and the black. Again, having to avoid that brown. Just not comfortable. Needs to rather opt for the rest.
A very good player with the rest, Charles Young.
Yeah, very reliable. Definitely has had a lot of practice using the rest. now have options of both black and pink. You can see Fakhri sitting there on the right hand side. You can now see those Italian socks sticking out.
The Milan socks.
There we go. Again, just mindful of the brown, just under his chest. Oh, is he going to fluke it? No.
No. Shows you how level the table is. There was no diversion anyway. It just continued in its tracks.
Opportunity now for Fakhri. He's not going to wait on playing the black. He wants those points and he wants them now. So played successfully. Black back on its spot. Can now play the red directly in line with the black to the right. Come off the rail and be back on the black again. Wanted a bit of a bigger bounce from there. As now the line of the cue ball is going away from the 4 remaining reds. Are we going to see some fireball fire to bring this cue ball back towards the reds?
It's a strong possibility. Always willing to entertain us.
Does look like he's eyeing out the layout of the colors. Yep, called it. And that would have worked out really well. Unfortunately missed the black. Another combination shot up for grabs. Or shawl. Not a given though. We have approximately 45 minutes left in the session, actually a little bit less. We'll try and see if we can get a shot of the match clock just to see exactly how much time is remaining.
Clock is really ticking now. Time's ticking.
We can see, so
just under 50 minutes.
Just under 50 minutes. So not a lot of time left.
At this pace, they might not be able to complete.
Absolutely.
But at times things just change in a flash. This is snooker we're talking about.
Yeah, you can see a frame done and dusted in 7 minutes. Cue ball back down to safety, however there is a red close by. So we'll see Charles just elevate the cue a little bit. Just to try and keep that cue ball more or less where it is now. Not elevating, because he's got something else in store for Fakhri. Hiding in behind the yellow. So 3 reds to play at. Being so close against that yellow. Returning the favor. Fakhri handed him in the second frame. However, this is a little bit easier. Two rails, misses it. Charles quickly jumps up to see what Fakhri has left him before he decides if Fakhri should play that again.
Here's the game time that's remaining, 47 minutes and 46 seconds.
So red has been made.
The Italian socks, eh?
Execute that beautifully. Onto yet another red. Probably be opting to play for the one to the bottom left. Those Italian socks on display by Fakhri. Played that beautifully once again. Needs that to stop, so he got onto the correct side of the blue, and by saying that, being above the blue, if he plays the blue to the middle pocket, it will send the cue ball down towards the red, but it looks like a lot of angle that he's left himself with there. So it might go down towards the red and then bounce back up. So, not ideal.
So Charles sitting on 40 and possibly would have gone on 45 with that and missed it by a whisker. But a miss is a miss anyway.
See proudly on display there the My Day Brands signage, official refreshment sponsor of all the pro snooker events. They've been with us the whole weekend, which we're very thankful for, especially with all the talking.
Does help quite a lot.
Nice pink by Fakhri. Still anyone's frame. So 27 on the table. Now with the yellow dispatched, it's 25 remaining. He is on the green, doesn't have to do much with the cue ball, so he can just focus on potting this green in the top left. Should be on the brown to the middle pocket. Opts to make things a little bit easier for himself by just drawing the cue ball back onto the rail. The angle that he's left himself on the brown will now push the cue ball towards the blue. Oh, he's missed the brown though. Very close, great attempt by Charles. What is he going to leave Fakhri with?
The bridge might not be so easy, but the brown is quite close to that. It's quite close to the pocket.
Well, we see some aggression from Fakhri to get position onto the blue. You can see he is playing on the top of the cue ball, so it'll follow through. Oh, but he's completely missed it.
And he leaves it very much open for Shaw.
Opportunities going begging. 10 points the difference.
Ooh. Shaw
And
returns
so
the
close.
favor.
See some fatigue coming through now. It's been a long weekend of snooker. Both of these players are very fit. Again denied. But hampered by the blue now. So a little bit of fortune going Fakhri's way.
Best of 9 is definitely a lot of snooker to play, especially when it goes to deciders and stuff.
Whoa,
what a
that is such a fluke, but sportsmanship by Scholl. Raise of the hand. That was a great shot.
luck always favors the brave.
Always great to see Ellison when the players have the humility to just raise your hand. You know, sometimes the luck of the roll doesn't go your way, and sometimes it does. Just at least raise of the hand, apologize.
Gods
There
are
we
smiling
go.
on him, certainly.
Again, just trying to use some distance. Again, just making sure first and foremost that the cue ball goes back to the bulk end, but at the same time just trying to cut in that blue. Quite far off this time by Scholl. Oh, is the fortune not turned? No, it hasn't. Right. How's the
So
pink?
With 18 points on the table. Still for anyone's taking.
Only 14 the difference. Scholl would want to get this blue. He's going to leave it on for Fakhri.
Very unlikely.
Another opportunity's gone to begging.
But it's left in a good position for Shaw.
And that's such a big frame because it's the difference between 3-3 and 4-2.
Definitely. And at 4, you always feel you're at the brink of making it, and you always perform a little bit more with the hope that I am seeing the finish line.
That then guarantees it for Scholl, for all. Oh, sorry, not for all. 4 for Scholl, 2 for Fakhri. Fakhri remains seated. And Scholl is 1 frame away from again winning another title. Fakhri would need at least 2 frames to make it 4 all and a couple of points in the 9th frame. And he's just got about 30 minutes, just a bit more than 30 minutes left to go. See all of those denials from this bottom right pocket. Fakhri's worst enemy in this final.
It was really his worst enemy.
Another rattle coming back out again. See another rattle now. It's been a tough day at the office for both of these guys. There we go, so players have returned. Balls have been racked. Is this the final frame? Will Charles put a nail in the coffin for Fakhri in this frame, or does Fakhri have another say?
See Andre on the screen, probably Stefan Senkamp has taken a bathroom break, highly possible.
It has been a long weekend. Andre de Toy is the head referee. You can see him just there behind Charles with the glasses on. Stefan has been officiating this whole weekend on this very table. So, completely justified if he quickly needs to take a breather. Black has now been potted by Charles. In terms of reds, he can cut back the left to the left bottom pocket, the red just above the black. Again, we'll send the cue ball into those reds, which is a bit risky. Charles opting not to go that route. If things do go wrong, it'll open up the table for Fakhri. Nice red to the bottom right, but just position on that black not great, so just nestling up behind it.
Just choosing to play safe.
So again, just trying to get your opponent to make a mistake so that you can score points. That'll be the aim for both of these players now, but Fakhri would definitely need to show some sense of urgency now. Only 30 minutes remaining. If he wants to come out the victor, he needs 2 frames minimum in 30 minutes.
Bit of a mountain to climb.
Is going to be a very tough ask. Again, Charles just be doing what he's been doing the whole day and just run the cue ball off the reds and back into safety. Just colliding with the yellow. That's okay. Fakhri just returning the favor, but almost makes a muck of it as he ran with the cue ball into the jaws of the bottom left corner pocket. Don't think there'll be much damage with that blue up close with the cue ball. 33 minutes remaining. Not a lot of time left for Fakhri. Definitely needs to make a plan, but can't really do anything while he's in his seat, so hopefully for Fakhri's sake, Charles gives him an opportunity.
It's definitely limiting his opportunities, even when he's off his set. He's
That's
gonna
gotten
roll in.
quite close, just not hard enough. Now is the black in play and obstructing Charles' line of sight, and it's also quite an acute angle, so you need to cut that more than anything. It's not just a simple roll into the pocket. Now I can see the black has come into play, but options above the black.
Well done there by Charles.
That's worked out reasonably well. Also played with safety in mind, just again sending that cue ball to the top. If anything does go wrong, it'll limit the damage. Beautiful rocket tables. Absolutely world class. Great view that we're getting here for the red to the pocket. Just see how still he remains when he plays that shot.
That pocket is proving to be very difficult for these two gentlemen.
Yeah, they might as well close it for construction.
Needs that, definitely.
No need for the players to use that anymore.
They've got 5 other pockets that they can make use of. Is Fakhri gonna try and cut that acutely? Yes, he does.
It's well played. Doesn't get position on the black though. How is he on the pink? Can he play the pink to the middle? He's going down on it. Can he make it straight, or does he have to double it? No, he can make it. However, hits the jaw, the near jaw. And an opportunity once again for Scholl back at the table. Again, back into bulk with distance, blue in the way. Beautiful shot there.
Nicely done.
Again, just position on this black. Didn't even touch a single jaw. It's also made the black. Fakhri a bit quick for the production team. Does play a lot quicker than Scholl. Slight grimace there. Still looks to be fine. Oof, he's just missed it though. Again, he's left an opportunity for Scholl. It's been back and forth, back and forth. One would feel if Scholl can just pull the trigger now, he can finish it all right here, right now. Nicely played. He's on the blue as well. They'll just play this blue softly and then just leave the cue ball for the red to the left of the cluster. Ball being removed by our head referee, Mr. Andre de Toy. Again, position for the blue to the middle. Now needs to pick off some loose reds. With that shot, one would say that there's definitely one. Yes, it is the lowest red. Also open up the reds a little bit more with the shot. You can see there, splitting them open. He's on the black as well. Potted that beautifully.
Shao definitely with an opportunity here to put as much points on the board as possible.
Absolutely, this is another opportunity for him to, again, as we said, put a nail in that coffin. But a hampered queuing over this red now. Cannot really dig into it or do too much with it. So he needs to elevate, get the reaction that he wants. Just something simple as being obstructed by the red has brought an end to this break now.
It was looking like a very good break going on.
21 points difference now. But still 4 reds on the table. So definitely still not the end. You can just see the comparison between how quickly the two players do play. Fakhri honestly just waiting for Andre just to put the black back in position and he's off again.
Doesn't waste time.
So in a very, almost a blink of an eye, lead squashed down from 21 to only 12. So low down on the cue ball. He's going to try and run into that cluster. Just misses them. Has he snookered himself with the green?
Seems like it. No, he still has.
The red furthest to the left with a bit of swerve he got there. But now, how much has he opened up these reds for Charles? Is there anything they can go for? Leads now down to only 5. So just over 20 minutes remaining. Wow, what a cut shot into the middle pocket.
Huge cut. I didn't see that one coming.
Nor have I. I thought he was just going to glance off of it. But he played that really well. Now one to the middle. He's on to another red.
Excellent positional play there. He's gonna play for the blue or for the pink.
He's going for the pink. Higher valued balls. He's changed. Gonna rather use the angle, just get down to the red. Played that well once again. He's now onto this red. So we'll put him on 42. Yeah, well played by Charles. On 42 is on the blue now. After the blue, I'll be having a gander at the yellow. The angle might need him to go back in and out of bulk. Is he going to get out? No, he's not. He's going to snooker himself as well. That's an ugly one. So now a bit of thinking to do for Charles here. It was a golden opportunity. He was so close to ending this off. Played 2 cushions and at least got to the yellow, but an opportunity. 20 points the difference, 27 on the table. It's now or never for Fakhri. Oh, very close. Cue ball, cue ball. That is so problematic. Now takes it to 51 points. .24 points the difference. 27 on the table. Oh, and he's returned the favor with a cue ball going down from Charles as well. So difference back down to 20. Again, still 27 on the table, but again, the green and brown is ugly. Is he gonna lock it up? No, he's not. Oh, and that is a beautiful shot by Charles. Such a fine cut that he had to play. And I'll just nudge the two, sorry, not the two, the green towards. That looks reasonably good. He's going to need a bit of swerve again. But that is a foul 7. Takes it to 60. Difference is 29. Snooker's now required by Fakhri. So Fakhri now really needs to fight. .25 on the board. So if he is able to get one snooker, he can tie scores up to 60-60 if he pots all the remaining colors. But he does need a foul from Charles to be able to do that. There's only 25 left on the table. A foul of 4 points would make that 29, which is the difference. As you see there, just under 20 minutes remaining. Not a lot of time. Cue ball, cue ball. Oh, so close, almost. How much of the green can Charles see? I think he can see enough to not be hampered too much. Will Charles take this on? It's not an easy shot, but it is a makeable one. That was so close. Almost looked like it fell and then came back out again. Really, really close. Are we trying to get that cue ball in behind the brown and black? He's at least got covering by the pink, but not too hard to escape from this. You can just put some side Mr. Pink can kick it from back, exactly as it happened there. So another to and fro once again. Fakhri not relenting, even though he already requires a snooker, albeit only one. Again, how much of this green can Charles see? That answers it. Great angle that we got there. Really needs to swerve this. If we can just see the angle or see the swerve. There we go. Contact made. Swerve played perfectly. Avoided the foul. Still in the lead. Nice shot. You can see as it grabs the cloth, it turns. Yet another snooker attempt. Yet another escape by Charles. Fakhri knows that it is now or never. I think he already knows that he can't win this, but this is sport. I'm not going to give you an inch. Not on a silver platter. There we go, green has gone down. So just again extending that lead, now 2 snookers required. And that's just to even out the scores. Brown dispatched. Now, highly unlikely that Fakhri will get up from his chair if this blue's missed. And Fakhri remains seated.
And there we have it, folks. There we have it. We've seen it, we've witnessed it for the 4th time in a row, 4 consecutive times. We have watched these 2 gentlemen entertain us. It has never been boring. It has always kept us captivated. It has always kept us at the edge of our seats. We've never had a time where we're like, oh no, it's Shah and Fakhri again. Gentlemen, may the crowd that's within us here just put their hands together for these 2 for keeping us highly, highly entertained. We would like to thank the viewers at home as well, watching us from DSTV channel 263, known as Cape Town TV, for staying with us, for joining us from 2:30. They've been with us. We give so much thanks to Advice Cube for making sure that this event is a success, putting together a total prize fund of 75,000 Rand. What do we say to Advice Cube for making sure that this Advice Cube Grand Prix is a success? Can you please put our hands together for them once again? It is with great pleasure that I speak, for I know that my throat is a bit dry right now, but as soon as I finish here, there is My Day juices. Oh, and there we go, there we go. And there's a My Day that has been waiting for me. And My Day, thank you so much for keeping us so much hydrated and energized. As I speak, I'm happy to welcome back my co-host, who's been in the commentary booth. Can we put our hands together for Werner Vessels? Welcome, Werner. I'm going to organize your My Day juice just now.
I'm definitely going to need one after yet another enthralling tournament throughout. And again, I'm sure Alison has mentioned it. A big thank you to everyone in attendance, the players, well played, our sponsors, Advice Cube, absolutely incredible. Sitting there, it's an absolute passion and a joy for me to be able to commentate on these matches. And I don't think we have much time left, so I'm going to keep moving forward. And I'd actually like to call over our runner-up, Mr. Fakhri, just for a quick question. And I'll pass the mic back to Alison. Fakhri, yet another final. I have to say, in that second frame, you put Charles in the snooker. It's not often that you see a player sitting and scoring that amount of points. Without being a great sportsman that you are, honestly, what's going through your mind when you see your opponent in so much pain from a snooker like that?
Nothing really. I don't put anything for him, so. No. Look, obviously, he makes a fair tempo, he leaves something good on, and you'll take a chance. Just the way that it was, the white ball was there, the free ball wasn't really on, so, it's not that I suppose we don't want to capitalize on one snooker. It's just we want a decent opportunity to back to the table and to be able to score and then capitalize rather than being able to go back and restock the white. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, every time I see a half chance, I actually get up and I tell the referee, no, let me have a look first. I'm not sitting there and saying, put the white back, put the white back. So I'm just trying to see, maybe the three balls looking good, maybe the red on, and maybe I can score. So like I said, it's not that we look to mold those type of opportunities, but we just look for any other opportunity thereafter, and hopefully we can capitalize.
And then just the last question from me. You came all the way from Gauteng to the Q Master Snooker Center in Durban. Special though, you brought your family along. Is there anything you'd like to say to them?
Yeah, I'd like to say thank you to my family, for supporting me. Everyone came down, kids, everything. And honestly, it's a bit tiring, I think, with kids and then playing snooker, and it's challenging. It's the first time I've ever done it. Don't know if I'm going to do it again. So, yeah. And I just wanted to say thanks actually to the Woodley family. They always accommodated me when we come down to pro snooker, and this time they've not been there. Somebody in their family passed away, so I didn't get to see them, and I just wanted to say condolences to the Woodley family for their loss as well.
Condolences from our side as well. Thank you, Fakhri. I'm going to pass the mic back over to Elton to pose the question over to Charles.
Congratulations once again, the assassin Charles Young. Well done. A quick question. Charles, it's the 7th time, 7 out of 7. You've ticked 7 green boxes, not a red one. You've ticked 7 of them. How does that feel? Is it changing from the first time that you won this to the 7th time? Is it growing in feeling? What can you tell us? I can't even ask you.
Alison, Magnificent 7, like you say. So, this title is just as special as each one of the previous 6. And I'm going to treasure this, and this is for my family and my sponsors back home. I've got to put in the effort for them because they sacrifice a lot to have me here. I'm thrilled.
Your family should be thrilled. You missed an opportunity to go to the African Snooker Championships just because you're the son who's turning 1 this year, and I'm sure you dedicate this to him as well.
Yeah, dedicate that to him. Carla, he's 1 year old, so thanks, Alison.
All right, thank you so much. I'm just going to go on to quickly call the dignitaries in our midst right now. I'm going to ask the CEO of Pro Snooker, Mr. Cuban Moodley. Please put your hands together for Cuban Moodley. He's going to help us to give away the prizes. In our midst as well, we are blessed to have the development officer for South Africa Billiards and Snooker Association, known as SABSA, Mr. Munir Kasim. Please join us in our midst as well. Prize for the highest break goes to, we all know, 116. Should we change your name to 116? You did it in style. Well done, Charles Young. Please come up and get your prize for the highest break of 116. Our runner-up, of course, who walks away with a whooping 8,000 rand, is none other than the fireball himself. Fakhri Hirden, please come up and get your nice check of a whooping 8,000 rand. Courtesy of Advice Cube, we are grateful for Advice Cube. Put your hands together for Fakhri Fireball for 8,000 rand. Please come and collect your check. All right, we'll collect that for him in absentia. I think it's just rushed off somewhere to the bathroom probably.
All right, and now the man of the moment, and this is becoming a little bit of a tradition. We need to find his Achilles heel at some point. We'd like to call to the front the winner once again, Mr. Shaw, the assassin, Yonk! We're going to ask Mr. Munir Kasim just to hand over the trophy to Charles. And a big round of applause once again for Charles, the assassin. Alright, and there we go. So we're going to now carry on with the rest of the prizes. So thank you so much for everyone for joining us. So there we go. First person up, right here to our right, Mr. Munir Kasim, if you can please join us and just collect your prize money as well. Alright, and then our photographer standing here right in front of me, Mr. Andre Toy. Alright, Donovan Vergy from Port Elizabeth, if you can come up and collect your prize money, please. Right, next up we have Mr. Ricky Dragoni. Right, next up we have the quarter finalist. Ryan, if you are here, can you please come and join us? And please come and collect your prize money. Congratulations for seeing it through to the quarterfinal.
Ryan!
Right, next up we've got Kiash and Moodley. Right, next up we've got a player that gave our champion his biggest encounter, Jaden Noben, for putting up such a good fight in the semi-final. next up, if I can call to the front, Mutalib Ali, to come and please collect his prize. Alright, so next up, a very special one we mentioned a little bit earlier in our opening ceremony. We had a special break by the man standing on the right there. It was ridiculous, that with a damaged Q-tip. 116 to Shaw York. I'm actually going to put a highlight video of that online, so just keep an eye on Pro Snooker's page and it'll be on there shortly. And next up we've got the runner-up, Fakhri. Has he made his way back yet? Congratulations to Fakhri once again. And then once again, last but not least, and again standing there smiling, it was EFT is fine as well. Mr. Shaw Young, the winner of the Advice Cube Grand Prix 2022. Congratulations, Shaw. Right, and just on that note, before I pass the microphone over to Mr. Moody, just again like to say everyone in attendance here, thank you so much. It is really awesome to have you join us. All the players, I've always had a big passion for the sport. Thank you so much for allowing me to actually live in that dream. I know I can't cue straight to save my life, but at least I can be a part of something special, and it's all thanks to you guys being here as well. And then our sponsors at Rice Cube, they've been loyal, they've sponsored 2 events with us already. Mr. Vimal Singh, thank you, the MD of Advice Cube. Please, if there's an opportunity for you to support sponsors, guys that actually care about something that we have a passion for, please go out, refer them to people. If you hear someone mention life insurance, medical aid, refer them to Advice Cube. All they can do is give out a quote, and I can promise you in some way, sense or form, they can at least enlighten them, tell them something that they don't know. Please get in touch with them. It's advicecube.co.za. Their contact number is 0861 732688, or just go to advicecube.co.za. And then, as I said a little bit earlier in the opening ceremony, my brains, it goes way past just having some good juices at the event to drink at Diamond, and they actually really care about the sport, and they do so much for the sport. We all enjoy watching it, playing it. It is without these guys, we might as well just sit at home and watch TV. So a big round of applause once again for our sponsors. And on that note, I'm going to just pass over to Mr. Moody if there's anything that you want to add towards the end. Thanks, Mr. Moody.
Well, I think this weekend a lot of the players saw a little bit of the angry side of me, but do apologize. We are trying to do our best to get this these type of events more professional, better for the players. Some of the players are just not playing the part, but anyway, that's beside the point. Well done to Shaw, the winner. Well done to all the players. I really thought that when my talks with Mutali Busy is here, I actually thought that this was the one that he was going to win, because I was watching him practice and we were talking about it, and he's been practicing. Guys, I tell you, watch out the next one. I'm going to have to start putting some serious money now on this guy, starting to play well. Also thought that Kirash would do well, but Shaw chopped him up quick and fast. Jaden did very well. Okay, the lights are striking my account. Oh, there's Jaden there. Jaden did very well. You know what, the interesting fact, Jaden has almost not won a qualifier. Every time somebody has come through, won a qualifier and they couldn't make it, and then Jaden has gone through. But that just shows that the ranking list supports him. And then he went to Gold Reef City, he beat Ashraf Haribai, right, and he got to the next round. He came here in Durban and he beat Tariq Samsudin, so he got more points, got himself, and now he won his first round, then won a second round, now he's in the semis. And he also gave Charles a bit of run for his money. I didn't watch the match. I'm in for surgery on Tuesday, so I have been in and out of here, went to the hospital for prep. So I had to go this morning at 10 o'clock to do COVID test and do another wellness check. I only finished over there at 2:10, and then I was straight over here. So we're trying to do our best. We appreciate everything. The guys, the referees have really done well. Some of the referees have suffered deaths in their families that didn't come. But this is a problem now in snooker, that we're going to have to sit down with the national body and work out how we can get referees through people, build it up from all sides, from the refereeing, more people to learn how to do the streaming, more people to learn how to do the scoring, more people to learn how to do table care, table fitting. I mean, our sport is seriously lacking all those resources. I mean, we put in decent money into the tournament, 75K, which is up from last year, which was only 50K. But still, it's not enough. I mean, look at the guys from Cape Town. They're paying over 5,000 rand a flight to get here. I mean, I think they deserve a big round of applause for their commitment. So, also, Pro Snooker will be looking at that, where we can probably offer some sort of assistance or grants for the players that are traveling with the flights. Because the guys from Durban over here, it's free money. They just come in and pick up money with almost no expenses. Guys from Joburg still have to travel, but it's not. Fakri gets all free flights, William gets free flights to his points. Not everyone is that fortunate, So, but anyway, it's been a good tournament. Hopefully we can build. Obviously, the SA Masters is next week. If you're playing here, I know Charles is going to be playing. So Charles wants to make a clean sweep of all the titles. So he had on offer.
He didn't take the classic.
Oh, he didn't take the classic?
He got knocked out.
Yeah, who knocked him out?
Who else?
And who knocked him out?
Yeah, you're making it a habit. But anyway, guys, thanks for coming. Safe travels. We'll see you all next time. The tournament has not been confirmed, but we hope to be Cape Town, the next one. But we will make an announcement within the next week, definitely. All right. God bless.
Our experienced team of highly trained industry professionals understand exactly what your needs are, whether it is your family, your personal assets, or your business. Get in touch with AdviceCube today. AdviceCube, insuring assets. AdviceCube is a registered financial service provider.
Play it your way with My Day.